Hello, ladies and gents. This is DPL. This is the third time running the intro as Simba doesn't know how to prod. And welcome to Yaokuza versus Pogfish, a very epic showdown that's going to come up. We saw Pogfish beat Depth in the last round, and they might be able to do the same to Yakuza. So we'll see what happens. Index, any thoughts on the game?
Yeah, a couple. Obviously, there was that surprise upset of Pogfish against Depth. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. I'm sure that messed up a lot of people's bracket predictions. But Depth are a solid team, and them losing to Pogfish kind of shows how far Pogfish have come in terms of their progress. They play a lot. They have a pretty solid roster. They have a couple of strong players. Foom is particularly good. Merchant has a lot of experience, and obviously it's all being headed up by their captain Fishy. So it's going to be a really interesting match today. Obviously, on the other end, you have Yakuza, a really storied and experienced roster being led up by Flogels, and with a particular amount of firepower themselves. So I think we're in for a pretty good match today.
Yeah, it does seem like that. But yeah, so we for anyone new to DPL, we might want to go into a bit of detail on what the strengths and weaknesses of all the players on the teams are. So, Index, you thought, you know,
Yeah, so on the Yakuza end, they're definitely a pretty aggressive team, particularly on defense. Not afraid of kind of taking those initial gunfights, making more aggressive plays. They even coined the Flogel Barb, which is throwing down a barbed wire right after a team door breaches onto a particular room. And then on the other end, we have Pogfish, a team I don't know as well. I've only scrimmed them a couple of times. But I think they do tend to play a little slower. I know they're a little bit less coordinated than Yakuza is, and I'm curious to see if that will kind of bite them in this going into this match.
yeah, it's gonna be a close one. I feel like uh,
Yeah.
we're just waiting for them to get in game.
So
Um,
out of the players on Pogfish, who are you going to be looking at, Tetra?
well, you've got Foom, the man that says that he doesn't carry every time he goes 21-2. You've also got the man that is Fishy, the crazed lunatic of a captain. He's a great IGL, but yeah, is a bit crazy in the head. You've got Asbo, who is a good friend of mine, uh, great person, but potentially isn't the best player on the team. Dylan as well, good friend, very good, aggressive player, can pick up those kills with ease. And Merchant, who I believe is the sniper of the team. We saw him on Katura last season, and he was a good player on Katura. So you've got a solid roster for Pogfish.
Yeah, and on the other side, on Yakuza, we have a bunch of pretty strong players. We have Ghetto, we have Tommy, we have Flogel, all people who have been in this league for a really long time. And when you look at the two rosters, there is a massive difference in experience. Not just hours playing the game, which there is a difference in, but in competitive experience as well. The Yakuza roster has been competing in DPL for a lot longer than the Pogfish roster has, and they've certainly been in this situation a lot more. So it's really going to be interesting to see, are the kind of young upstarts going to be able to usurp a team that has been a long-standing force in this league?
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, but hopefully we do see Pogfish come out on top here. At least that's what I'm rooting for.
Okay,
No,
what's your
no
prediction?
bias. Yeah, I'm gonna say Pogfish. I do want to see a sort of takedown
Are you
of
seeing 2-0
Nemesis.
or are you seeing 2-0 Pogfish?
I don't know. I'm seeing a win in Pogfish, but it's whether or not how far they can get in the tournament because
Yeah. I
it.
think everybody's a little excited to see some fresh blood on the scene, see a new team make their mark. Personally, though, I am going to have to say I am expecting a 2-0 Yakuza here. So hold on to your channel points, everybody. I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, still looks like we're not in game yet. So we'll carry on waffling about some stuff. Um, so Index, you're sort of you're a captain of a team that is you know,
That plays this game, yeah.
yeah, that plays that plays this game. Uh, how was it? How was the tournament overall from a player's perspective?
It was pretty fun. It's nice to start playing again. As people know, we've switched formats and we are now going through a sort of more tournament-based system. And I'm a really big fan of that. I think it makes things a lot more interesting than the kind of weekly DPL matches. Everybody gets together and starts playing, and you kind of get to improve in between tournaments. And so it's kind of a little bit of a breath of fresh air into the existing format.
Yeah, it was even when you were knocked out, it was a very close game that you played against Yaokuza.
Yeah, yeah, we ended up going into overtime on the third match, and then we lost in OT. So it was definitely rough. I mean, obviously we would have loved to win, but it was a really good match. I thought Yakuza played really well against us, and ultimately they were the better team.
Uh, think we're still not in game. I believe there's some issues going on with one of the Yakuza players, but yeah, this is a long intro. What else do we talk about? I don't know. We've kind of gone over everything. Oh, do you want to talk about the stats size of stuff?
Yeah, so hopefully this match, we're going to see more stats. As some people might know, there was a recent update that gave us a lot more information, including damage stats and obviously all the fun stuff that comes out of that, like assists and best weapon and whatnot. So hopefully we are going to get some of that for you guys today. Um, we'll we'll see how it goes. This is the first time testing it out, so we will we'll have to see if it works or not, but ideally we'd love to have that in between rounds, and that'll help us sort of break down exactly what's going on. If there was a stat that doesn't exist, Tetra, what would you like it to be?
I don't know. Maybe like charges taken or like charges blown up. I think
Oh, okay, so you
that'd
want
be a
you want
cool
more of
stat.
that like utility type
Yeah,
stuff.
like successful util throws or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the ones that I've been hearing are people want to see flash.
Oh, in I believe Index has joined um a channel by accident and cannot join back. So um welcome back, Index.
Sorry about that. Let's see. We were talking about stats. So I think people really want to see flash stats. I'll see what I can do there. Um, but I think so far people have been pretty happy with the damage stuff, which is great. I'm glad that finally got out.
Yeah, well, they give a lot more insight into maybe who's just stealing kills and who's actually
Yeah,
fragging out.
exactly. I actually get a call out my Bader teammates now. Someone has like 10 kills and like 200 damage dealt. It's like, all right, I know what you're up to.
Believe the game has started though. So we're in, boys.
Alrighty. All right, it looks like they're setting up for a beach and observation take. It looks like Yakuza are a little worried about that wall charge from beach, but still don't have a great idea what Pogfish are planning on right now. It looks like they're going to go through that green on the north side of pit, with a nade to counteract any barbed wire that shows up there. It also seems like they're a little bit worried about jungle, so I think we're probably going to see the beach take coming out. They might be ecoing from the looks of things. They're probably going to go for power, turn that off, then start focusing their attention on pit. And it looks like Yakuza, they don't have a lot on the map right now to counter any sort of jungle push, but typically what you see teams do is they sort of back off of jungle and kind of go for a harder hold on pit and hang on to obs. It looks like they're really worried about hanging on to observation there. Okay, it looks like so we set out one person in ruins, one person base. So we'll have to see what's going to happen from the Pogfish side. Tetra, how do you think they're setting up here?
Yeah, you've got some good barbs coming out from both sides. Got a barb, like a base barb, hit area, and you've also got a hit barb, which is very good. Also one obs, but it seems like they've gone for the smoke strat onto base. The door's been kicked, and they're out into the round. Nothing much happening yet, but Fishy and Dylan are going on a slow flank round. Gonna blow open that observation. They might be able to get a kill.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go for that late push, try and surprise the people on obs. So the question is, are Yaokuza going to be ready for that?
We'll see. Dylan going up the stairs. About to place down the charge, but on the other side of the map, the Pogfish team are able to get control of that pit, but it seems like Merchant has whiffed the nade onto that barb, and Lobster takes down Merchant there. Some wall bangs coming down from MF Groom. And observation gets blown. Biggie Cheese might be in trouble here. Lobster's pushed into jungle. Oh, but Fishy's able to take down Biggie Cheese. Rice Cube. Trading shots with Dylan. 69 pack able to take down Dylan. Fishy needs to trade here. And Foom's able to take out Lobster while that's all going on. Oh, but Rice Cube is able to take down Fishy, and MF Croom finishes off Foom the first round to Yaokuza.
Yeah, that was a pretty great hold from Yaokuza there, easily just taking out all the gunfights. Didn't really seem like Pogfish exactly knew what they were going to do. They did the late observation blow, but didn't really exactly have it coordinated and just ended up with their last two players split across the entire map. So, I'm not really sure if that was the correct push there, or if it was, they need to spend a little bit more time coordinating, making sure that they were hitting at the same time and watching, the same angles. All right, it looks like we're going into C-Store now. Obviously, the normal take is into Storefront. But I wonder if they're going to go for a little bit more interesting of a play. It looks like Foom is kind of looking at power here. Tetra, what do you think about this?
Yeah, from what I can see, they seem to be playing Storefront, which could be a good pusher.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like they might look at Office as well. I wonder if they're going to try and go for the Eco since they just lost the Clacker. It seems like they have a number of options. It looks like they are talking about the wall charge go straight to tellers, but obviously if Yaokuza are smart, they're going to have someone in arcade with power ready to counter that almost immediately. So that may not end up working as well as they think it will. Okay. It looks like Yaokuza are setting up with some barbs on bomb. I'm not really sure what their exact approach is going to be here because Freezer is a little bit of a tough hold. You can obviously get into it right after Office, and that's an F door, so not really exactly the best position to be playing in. Storage isn't bad to counter Office, and it looks like that is where they're committing to people. They have a barb going down on the green door, and then two barbs going down to defend against bomb. It looks like they are going to commit some people to Freezer as well. They have two in there. And then they have another two on the kind of northwest side of the map to try and hold Bathroom and protect Office a little bit. And then it looks like we have the last one, Teller. So pretty standard setup. It looks like they are going for the wall charge into Storefront here. You should see that play out now.
We see Fishy with, I believe, both the wall charge and the clacker. The wall charge has been set. And there goes the wall charge. A flash comes out. All rightish molly there from Biggie Cheese. It spreads, stopping the push into Storefront. And Asbo Doesn't take that much damage from that knack that could potentially ruin his day, but he's able to take down 69 pack. Is he able to get a second? He is! Rice Cube able to take down Merchant, but Harry Lobster trades with Asbo. It's a 3v3. Foom still outside the building. Fishy pushed in. Is he able to get Lobster? He does, making it a 2v3. Rice Cube at the back of the map. He needs to rotate round to take this round. Fishy kills Biggie Cheese, and it's only up to Rice Cube here. Dylan able to take down Rice Cube, and that is 2-0 to Yaokuza.
Yeah, that was a pretty clean take there from Pogfish. It looks like we're gonna now go into 1-1 here, tying things up. Obviously, it's a C-store, so you kind of expect the attackers to win these. Particularly on this map, you know, they get that storefront control. They have the pressure from Office. You know, it's definitely kind of hard to hold as a defender. But we had some great entries coming out from Asbo, Fishy following them up. Overall, it was just a really, really strong take, and it didn't really seem like they could do much to counter it. Maybe a little bit more on the mollies, maybe playing a little bit more in storefront or around fridges. But ultimately, it is a challenging map. And let's see, it looks like they're doing a little bit of looting here right now too. So that will definitely help their eco going into this next round.
Yeah, eco is not, you know, since the new guns have been added, not really that much of a issue as of recent. You can kind of sort of take any gun you want, you know, and leave the tubs till the end.
Yo, certainly. But as attackers, you're definitely going to want to get your hands on that small AK and get that extra damage out.
Yeah, especially on a factory like this.
Yeah, so we have a lot of long angles coming out for this factory. I think we have not seen a lot of long range used on the attack, so we might see some Black Tars or the Saber coming out. But this is a solid map for the defenders. Obviously, Office gives you a lot to work with. It also can't be super easily breached since you can just put that barb down just like Yaokuza are doing. A lot of crossfires for the defense, particularly if you hold around silos, hold around Office, maybe some people in Pipeworks as well. It's definitely going to be tough for the attackers. I think they have a door charge left, if I remember correctly. So we might see them come boiler. We might see them. It looks like they're looking at fan right now, which is a solid option for them. But they will be a little split. If they're going to go the green fan split, like it looks like they're planning, that's going to be a lot of individual gunfights. Obviously, the people pushing out a fan are going to have a lot of angles they're going to need to watch. They're going to need to worry about Office. They're going to need to worry about walkways. They're going to need to worry about dock. Whereas the people on servers, not a lot of they can contribute to the round in the very beginning. And then obviously they're going to have to push out onto silos, which has a lot of crossfires involved. So this might be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, it's a tough map to push. It's whether or not that the attacker's plan will work here. But the barb from 69 perhaps seems like it's going to slow down that attacking push and, you know, might delay and make them lose the round.
Yeah. If you're the defenders here, you definitely want to play pretty safe, play your crossfires, make sure that you aren't overextending or taking early fights just because you have so much time. It's so easy to get angles on this bomb. You really should try and stay alive as long as you can and waste as much time off this clock.
But we see, straight into the round, Merchant takes down Biggie Cheese. Great first pick there from Merchant. And the split coming out from Pogfish. A nade destroys the green barb, and they're about to blow that red. Merchant here, just watching the angles, checking everything. Green door has been kicked, and the door charge blows up Fan. 69 pack gets taken down by Dylan. And MF Kroom is able to hit a shot onto Asbo. Merchant taking a lot of damage from Silo Walkway. And Dylan is pushing up on Lobster. He isn't able to take him out. Lobster picks up Dylan. And Fishy's about to kick. He, I believe, spots one, maybe two. Oh, but Harry Lobster with a lovely pick onto Asbo there. It's a 3v3. Foom pushing in from Vent. He's able to take down Lobster. It's Rice Cube and MF Kroom versus Pogfish. Rice Cube able to tap down Merchant. Foom, is he able to do anything here? He's able to take down MF Kroom. Rice Cube versus Fishy and Foom. It is a 1v2. Rice Cube able to take down Fishy, but Foom trades, and that's the round for Pogfish. 3-1, sorry, 2-1 going into the first quarter.
Yeah, that was another really strong take coming in from Pogfish. Yeah, it just seems like they're just winning their gunfights. There's not anything that they're doing that's particularly flashy. Just taking fights as a team together, not getting worried, not slowing down, just continuing with the momentum, and winning out. It also seems like Harry Lobster had a pretty solid hold, but then got a little bit stuck. Didn't really have a lot of his teammates to fall back on, and so ultimately ended up only being able to get the two before Pogfish were able to take him out. But overall, a really strong take and a really strong showing from Pogfish right off the start. Really great attacker quarter. It shows that they are here to play. They definitely do not want the slow start. But they're going into a double defense now, so they might be in for a little bit more of a challenge. This is definitely where Yaokuza can shine. Um, there were a couple of things Yakuza were thinking about when they were playing defense on this map. They were looking at the wall charge into pit. They're particularly worried about the push into observation. And so I wonder if we're going to see either of those coming out here. Beach is definitely pretty strong, so it makes sense. It looks like they're definitely worried about people shooting onto the lander. So we will probably see some type of counter for that as well. Um, I don't really see anybody coming through jungle. To me, it doesn't seem like it adds a lot of value if you can already take control of base pretty easily. Really, observation, I think, is the best place to push here as it kind of forces the defenders to split themselves. Obviously, you can run into a tough situation when you're kind of at the end of a round and you're split across the map as attackers, but ultimately, I think some type of observation and base push is kind of the meta on this map. Um, there are other options, and you can go full five in one direction, but you're really better off trying to cut down their rotates.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a tough map to push, really. You, you've
yeah,
you've kind of got two entrances, and that's about it.
Yeah, it looks like they are going power here as well, which is obviously always pretty good for the attackers. That said, Pit generally has a decent amount of natural light. So it's not really something that you're super worried about as a defender. Maybe you want to bring some flares, and it looks like they do. Asbo has two flares. Um, and they're bringing out two mollies. It looks like we have one for Pit and one for observation from the looks of things. And then you have Merchant going for the lander peak. So hopefully the attackers are ready for that.
Well, we see the attackers getting ready to kick this door down. Merchant is ready on the other side, though. He's able to get Rice Cube down to 1 HP almost, but he takes 50 damage from of his own by the attackers. 69 pack pushing into base is able to make the jump onto that top part, which gives him a faster rotate into pit. So whether or not he'll use that to his advantage, Merchant believes Yakuza do hear him in the barb, and he's able to get down a rotate barb, and power goes out. Asbo able to take down 69 pack, but doesn't do anything, stands still for a moment. Foom able to take down Lobster, though. And it's a 4v2, but MF Crew makes that a 3v3, taking out Fishy. And Biggie Cheese kicks that door, dealing with a lovely molly, slowing down their defense. Foom with that flare in the grass might be revealing him. Biggie Cheese trying to make some moves, but the nade destroys that barb. Merchant got a peeking here. Dylan not able to do much, but Foom's able to take down Biggie Cheese. It's a 3v2. Rice Cube is still down to that 1 HP due to Merchant from the start of the round. Believe they have to push here. Flash goes out. Good flash there from Rice Cube, but he isn't able to do much. Takes out Merchant, and Merchant gets the double. Takes out both attackers from pit, making it 3-1 to Pogfish.
Yeah, that was an excellent hold by Pogfish there. Taking those initial fights didn't go super well for them. We saw a couple of good entries coming out on the Yakuza side, but ultimately they fell back on pit, held strong, and just played their crossfires. That's sort of textbook defense right there, and exactly the way that they should be playing right now. If we want to go ahead and take a look at the stats so far, I would be really interested to see, who on Pogfish is kind of pulling them ahead right now. We know it's Okay, the names are a little off from the looks of things. Um, but it looks like we have Foom on top with 525 damage. MF Kroom, I don't know who that actually is, with 700 damage for Yaokuza. Tetra, what do these stats say to you?
Well, Yakuza are dealing damage, but it's like not all spread out. You've got Pogfish with very sort of close together, bunched up data on damage, but MF Kroom coming out on top and sort of like not as of now, but is sort of up there in damage wise, and it balances out in Pogfish's favor, but not for Yakuza.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really seems like we have a overall pretty even board. Kind of no one single person, pulling more than everybody else, particularly on the Pogfish side. Very similar damage across the board, all very high KAST. They're all contributing to the round. And you can see a lot of this in the opening duels too. We see Asbo's 2 for 2 on opening duels. That's really really great, particularly if you're trying to make things happen. It seems like they've been playing mostly attacker rounds so far. It's all about those entries and getting into the site, and it seems like they've been really executing well on that.
Yeah, Pogfish have been fragging out in these first 5 rounds. Four rounds, sorry, going into the fifth.
Okay, so looking at this C store, we saw that Pogfish went for the close teller play. It seems like Yaokuza are trying to take a little bit of a longer angle. Maybe try and push in towards fridges. We saw some icons for that. They might try and go into arcade and then into freezers, really make sure they clear out that side of the map. And we're not seeing a lot of barbed wire being used. I don't actually see any barbed wire on the map right now. So I'm kind of interested to see how Pogfish are going to slow down this push. It also seems like they don't have a lot of Molotovs ready for where Yakuza are going to charge through. So it looks like we see one player kind of faking office or lurking up there. The rest of the team is going to go for that quick push through storefront.
Yeah, the War Charge comes out. There are some barbs on the map. The game might be bugged here, but there is one fridges and one storefront and one on the green door, slowing down that push. Harry Lobster going through one, and Asbo peeking. He is able to do much. Lobster taking him down. Foom getting the trade, though. Dylan taking out Big Cheese. Rice Cube taking out Dylan, and Harry Lobster taking out Foom. It's now down to a 3v2. Fishy with the auto, Merchant with the Lagros. And Rice Cube is able to take down Fishy. It's a Lagros versus Yaokuza, and they aren't able to do it. Merchant is taken down by Tommy, and it makes a round 3-2 to Pogfish.
Yeah, that was that went about exactly how you think it would. Pogfish were just not really all that set up. They did not have anybody really all that ready for the quick push through storefront. They did not have barbed wires down, and it really seems like they were not prepared for that push, which is interesting because that's exactly what they did on this map. So Yakuza really just successfully took advantage of that, went for the super quick push through, some great entries from Lobster and Rice Cube, and kind of just mowed them down. Yeah, and it looks like they also successfully looted a bunch of pretty good weapons too. So they're going into the next round with an AK, with a Gruber, with a Legros. All that's going to be extremely valuable. I think particularly the Legros is actually going to end up being pretty good at these ranges in the next map.
Yeah, I believe it's the factory next. So it's long angles with the Lagros is gonna help out a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's kind of same things as before. A lot of really strong crossfires for the defense. I really think that this is a solid map where you can kind of play a little bit more passive and just hold on to your one bomb angle, and it's really hard for the attackers to stop that. So we kind of see a similar barbed wire coming out to try and block the fan quick push. Seems like they're a little bit worried about power as well, and they're also taking a look at Dock, which I don't know if you need to be as worried about just because attackers only have the door charge. It seems like they might go for the keyhole to clear off their dock angles, and then maybe they're going to push through boiler or maybe push through server farm. It looks like a couple of options here. Oh, it looks like they also have a charge marked on fan, so it looks like they're just looking at all their options. Yeah, I think a fan push is pretty solid here. I think you're really best off just going all five as attack through one particular angle. If you can take that Pipeworks control, then get worried about Office, you actually can kind of start to push the defenders away. And as defenders, you really need to kind of be willing to give up ground while trying to get picks, take time off the clock. So looks like a couple of solid barbs. I'm really interested to see where they set up though, because it seems like we have a lot of long range weapons coming out for Pogfish. We have the Ingmar, we have two Ingmars, we have the Mop, and we have one large AK, one small AK. So it looks like they are going to try and play those long angles if they can. But obviously, if Yaokuza do keyhole that dock, that might be a issue for the Mopper. So hopefully Fishy's ready for that or paying attention to it. If not, that could be a really good early pick for Yaokuza.
Yeah, we see the clacker in Tommy's hand with the Lagros and the door charge. Sorry, door charge is placed onto that fan, and it gets blown up. All but one of the members of Yakuza are at that fan. They've got a door charge as well on the dock, which could catch out both Asbo and Fishy. Believe Fishy knows though. He doesn't though. He's looking at the red door, and Asbo could die here to the saber. Biggie Cheese able to take out Foon with that saber. Yakuza are just waiting for Biggie Cheese to clear everything out. But Asbo takes him down. Lovely kill there. That could make the round, actually. Frag goes out, destroying that barb on Office. Fishy, great molly there. Stopping the push. They waste a flash. And it's down to... Oh! But Photon is pulling a Photon and jumping on the sides to gain an advantage. And Dylan takes out Lobster. Merchant takes out Ghetto. And it... so much is happening. And Photon takes out Merchant. Fishy takes out Photon. 69 Pack takes out Dylan. And it's a 2v1. Asbo and Fishy versus Tommy. He's got a Lagros, so if he's able to hit heads, this could be the round for Tommy. Fishy, though, with the Morp. And Asbo with the KR82M. See what happens here. Molly goes out. Good Molly onto Bomb. But Asbo drops down and trades with Tommy. And that is 4-2 to Pogfish.
Wow. Again, really well played by Pogfish. They took their time, did not overpeak, and really just kind of whittled the time down. As we saw at the end there, Fishy was not giving Yaokuza anything, was not overpeaking, wasn't overextending. And honestly, a big part of that was Asbo getting that kill on the guy pushing Keyhole. That was a really, really key entry for them.
Yeah, it was a great pick from Asbo there.
Yeah, for sure. And it's small stuff like that that can completely change the round. If they're not prepared for that, if that catches them out, then Yakuza get a pretty easy entry onto the bomb. But instead, it was sort of the opposite. Yakuza were sort of forced to one side of the map, and Pogfish filled up the rest of it. Played a lot of really great crossfires and played off each other. And it seems like Yakuza did not have a great answer for that. Let's see. So going into this kill house, it's definitely an interesting one. There are multiple options you could take. The lockers push is pretty good for the attackers, but obviously, on defense, there's some things you could do. You could barb it, hold from kitchen, try and get some picks from office, or even play a little aggressive in lockers to try and stop the button press. That said, you kind of have to worry about both sides simultaneously. There isn't one clear blow here. Club is pretty much just as good. Get that early vault control and then push through kitchen. And office itself can be a little dangerous too, just because you could get split from reception. So it's definitely a little bit of a hard map to defend. I think you have to play a little aggressive here in order to push back the attackers. And I'm interested to see how Pogfish counter it. It looks like they are pretty worried about the push from reception. And Yakuza are looking at club right now. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw just a really quick push. It looks like they're going a 3-2 split through reception. So Pogfish do have some solid barbs in place to hold back the reception players. It's really a question of how well can they hold club. It looks like they want one person on that close right angle, kind of right above bar, and then they might have another person on stage to try and get a crossfire. So if they're able to get a couple of picks here, get that early molly down, maybe they can slow Yakuza down, or Yakuza kind of just tear into club and then split their way through. So a lot of this map really depends on how you hold that first room, and you really need to get that early damage, or you're going to find yourself in trouble.
We see Tommy has placed down that charge already. They're getting ready for that fast push into club. I believe Asbo's ready with the molly. Asbo, lovely molly comes out, blocking that push and slowing them down. Tommy rotates around to reception. And it's now what seems to be a 4-1 split rather than a 3-2. Another great molly. Seems like MF Crew might rotate to help out Tommy. Unless he might be left alone here. No, MF Crew is going to help out. Oh, no, he isn't. He's going to get a corner smoke. Great corner smoke comes out. A nice flash, but Fishy's able to take one out with a tub. MF Crew swapping, and Foom takes out MF Crew. Much takes out Rice Cube, and Aspo takes out Biggie Cheese. It's down to 69 pack alone. Dylan taking him out with a knack and ending the round off 5-2 to Pogfish. That was a very fast round.
Yeah, that was just fantastic crossfires. Again, it seems like on defense, they just have their pairs set up so well. They are always playing off each other, and Yakuza are just not ready for it. They didn't really get flashes deep enough, definitely didn't flash both players, and so they kind of just swung one after the other, and then, once they thought Yakuza were a little low, they all peaked him at the same time, and, that was it. So ultimately, a really, really good hold from Pogfish. That's sort of exactly what you have to do. Is you have to hold them strong right on that early red door. Don't give up any map control, and they did it. They did it really successfully, and it's really interesting. Yakuza like to play aggressive. They definitely are a confident team, but they're sort of getting dismantled by Pogfish right now, and I wonder if there's some communication issues going on the Yakuza side, or if Pogfish are just straight up winning their gunfights. But overall, we're seeing some great due process being played by the Pogfish side.
Yeah, the underdogs sort of taking down, top three of last season.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of players expected this to be going this way. Even 5-2, even though we don't know how this match is going to end, this is already an incredible showing from Pogfish. I think if we look back at the channel points, it was something like 99% of people bet on Yakuza to win this match. I myself said it was going to be a Yakuza 2-0 going into this. And they're proving us all wrong. They're showing that they definitely can hang with the top teams. And they're playing with a lot of confidence too. They just, think they're going to win their gunfights, and so they do. And they are just not letting themselves get intimidated by a DPL team.
Yeah, Pogfish are really playing anti-Yakuza here and are able to show off for once and show how capable they are of a team.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to see a split here coming out from the Yakuza. Looks like they're going to try and go jungle, get the early saber pick onto the player in castle window. Also, maybe looking at green, potentially a little bit worried about that rat spot in the bottom right corner of the map. So a lot of this depends on how Fishy's going to do. Can he hold green when he's getting pushed from jungle? Are they going to have to give it up? Ultimately, Castle's a pretty solid hold here, but we do see some people isolated. So Foom and Fishy don't have a lot of help. If Yakuza can kill them before taking much damage, then they'll end up in a pretty favorable position. Or if Pogfish are able to hold off the push for long enough, those last three players in Castle should be plenty to stall out the time. So it really depends on how this early attack goes.
Well, we see once again, a sort of slow push from Yakuza. Tommy kicking down the observation door, getting that sort of notification that the defenders know that he's there. We actually don't see Pogfish shoot out any of the screens there, which do give Yakuza a good advantage on that castle position. A door charge goes out, I believe, on Pit. And they're just waiting to push in. Flash goes into observation. Yakuza are going to be using that information from observation very well. That could be the death of Pogfish there. Foom and Fishy holding offside. And Merchant is able to tag Lobster. There goes the only person that can deal damage from the information they gain from observation without, like, peeking wide. And Yaokuza just sitting there. Fishy and Foom getting ready to push it. Fishy doesn't realize, though, and so does Foom. MF Crew taking down 2. It is a 3v5 now. This is looking bad for Pogfish. Quarter smoke goes out. Great molly there from Asbo, but Dylan's able to trade Tommy, and they're all on one side of the map. This could be bad for Yaokuza if someone's able to spray down. Asbo, is he able to do anything? He's not. It's Dylan in a 1v4 situation. Dylan here just has to pressure the bomb to win. He's able to take down Rice Cube. Is he able to do anything more? He's reloading the knack. But he isn't able to do more. Biggie Cheese takes him out. And that is 5-3 to Pogfish. Yaokuza taking that round.
Wow, that was a good round. I mean, ultimately Yaokuza took it, but they were in a really scary position there. If Dylan was able to do a little more, if he peaked a little bit later, or was able to, you know, just take a couple of seconds off their defuse, that round would have gone very differently. So honestly, I still think that was a pretty good hold by Pogfish. Sure, it didn't win them the round, but we're talking about 3-4 seconds here. So that was extremely close. Honestly, what happened there was kind of exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of the round. The first 2 players who were a little bit isolated outside of Castle got pushed really early. We saw some really good entries coming in from Yaokuza. I think that was Ghetto picking up the first 2 kills. And then, you know, you kind of have a 3v5, and yeah, the time was low by that point, but, you know, at that, you know, once flashbangs are in, once you're fighting close range against attackers, there's not a whole lot you can do as a defender. So they kind of just, you know, walked all over Pogfish once they were able to get into Castle. But looking at this C-store now, it looks like one of those larger C-stores. You know, you could go storefront, but it's maybe not the best push. A lot of people like to go storefront to bathroom or just go straight through shed, try and get that teller control. And it looks like both teams are really quite sure how they want to approach this map. We see Pogfish are pretty worried about the storefront push, trying to get barbs in place for that. 1 fridges, 1 right outside of teller. Also a little bit worried about that storage push. That definitely could be pretty lethal if the attackers are able to get into arcade. There are a lot of angles that they can push through. Makes it a lot harder to hold this map. And it looks like Yaokuza might be looking for that as well. Yeah, it looks like they have the storefront to bathroom marked down. They're going to try and split through storage and try and take teller control, which is pretty valuable. You know, obviously Pogfish should be able to counter any sort of teller play by turning off power. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they leave power on so they have good vision, and kind of just give up storefront side. But ultimately, if they give up the south side of the map and storage, they're all going to be cramped into the northeast section, that deli freezer office combo. So it'll be hard for them to find a crossfire if they give up teller here. So I'm really interested to see how aggressively they play for it. But they're going to be in trouble. It looks like a lot of Yaokuza members are going storefront. They're just going to push straight through. So the question is, how hard are Yaokuza going to hold them here?
Well, the war charge goes out. Some saber shots coming from MF Kroom onto Fishy. Is able to tag him sort of in the arm there, getting a bit of damage. But they haven't pushed in. They're sort of waiting. Tommy, you know, peeking through, baiting out mollies here. And they finally push in. Lobster, great flash deep. Asbo's very concussed from that. And Tommy takes the control of bathroom. Fishy, great molly there to slow him down. And they've kicked the shed door. They could push out here and go around and gain bathroom control, but they're not. Lobster, shotguns open that teller door. That means Fishy has to push out. Tommy, sort of chilling on that door. Pushes into tellers, gain teller control, and now shutters is open. Dylan dies to Tommy, but Foom's able to trade. Asbo's able to take out Rice Cube, and Biggie Cheese trades on Foom. Asbo take out Biggie Cheese. It is a 2v3. Fishy 1 HP though. Asbo in his teller fight, and Tommy is victorious. It is a 2v2. Merchant with the Igmar, taking shots from Tommy from that teller position. And it's MF Kroom with the saber that could be able to do something here. Fishy on this barb. Ooh, but Tommy's picked up that knack. Trying to get some warbang shots on Merchant. Good flash comes out there. Out of flashes, though. Merchant swinging here, I believe, but is taken down by MF Kroom. It is a 1v2. Fishy very low HP, and it gets taken out by Toby. Yaokuza somehow win that round. 5-4 to Pogfish. Woo. This is a very close game going into the final quarter.
Yeah, and that's sort of exactly what happened. They lost Teller, they lost Storefront, they get stuck into a small portion of the map, and they play some really good crossfires still. They had some really good peaks, particularly on the first few entry players from Yaokuza. But ultimately, they kind of get stuck in the same set of positions. Yaokuza get a ton of map control and are able to just isolate angles and pick off the remaining Pogfish players. Um, so overall, just a great push from Yakuza. I think that was just a strong strat. And obviously, it's C-Store, so attackers are in a pretty good spot. If you want to take a quick look at the scoreboard, we can see how everybody is doing. It looks like Ghetto is leading things up for his team, 1,200 damage right now. And on the other side of things for Pogfish, we have Asbo, 1,300 damage, going 8, 8, and 4. Both teams, some really strong players showing out. Asbo and Dylan and Merchant heading things off for Pogfish, whereas we have Ghetto and Tommy leading things up for Yaokuza. It's been a really close match, and the scoreline reflects it. There's nobody really having a bad game here. Everybody's pulling their weight. Obviously, some people are playing particularly well, but as you can see from KAST, everybody is contributing to the rounds. Everybody's going for these opening duels and having an impact. Um, Interestingly enough, we're seeing a lot better performance on the attacker side from Yakuza. You can see it particularly in their best weapons. All the top 3 players, their best weapon is the AP. So it seems like they're finding a lot more success on the attacker side of things, whereas the Pogfish players are doing a little bit better with the defender guns. So overall, it's a really close match so far. Both teams are playing quite well. If we want to take things back to the map, it looks like we are going into a pause so we can take some time to evaluate Killhouse a little better. Um, oh, it seems like we've had some
Disconnected.
technical issues. So Tetra, how do you feel so far about how both teams are doing?
Well, it's been a very close match. We've seen both sides just destroy. And Pogfish have come out on top against this, but it's whether or not they are able to finish it off and finish out the game with a dub. You know?
Yeah, and I would say, regardless of how this match or even the series ends, this is a fantastic showing from Pugfish already, right? Yakuza were certainly the favorites. Everybody thought that this was going to be a relatively one-sided match, and that has not been the case. And so, regardless of where things go from here, this is already testament to what a strong team Pugfish is. They're already getting one of the better DPL teams kind of on their back foot. Yakuza are not looking super confident. And yeah, the rounds are close, but I think everybody thought that this would be a lot more one sided in the favor of Yakuza than it is right now. And a lot of that is testament to just the really smart game Pogfish is playing. A lot of really good crossfires, a lot of really great understanding of the map. They had a double defense on this particular series, and they played it really well. Like, always had a crossfire setup, always knew exactly what the key points were of the map that they should be holding and where they should be falling back to. And they just whittled time off the clock. So many of these rounds got into the, 10-second, 5-second range. And that's because Pogfish are just really playing the long game, right? They're not giving up easy kills, they're not giving up early kills. Every single person is pulling their weight, and it's definitely showing.
Yeah, it's sort of just like a mix of stats that we have. Pogfish is the spread out people, but you've got MF Kroom and other people just sort of carrying the team almost. And MF Kroom had an 100% KST, so it shows you that that there are some people that are doing better than others on
Yeah,
I
if
think
we wanna take a look at the stats again, since we have a little bit of extra time, it really is a sort of more one-sided picture for Yakuza. We have Geto and Taiga at the top by a pretty considerable margin. It looks like a 300 damage difference there to the next closest person. And Geto in particular is having a fantastic game, going 133 ADR, 160 ADR, attack and defense respectively, going 8 and 6 with 6 assists, 100% KAST. That means he's had a contribution to every single round so far, and obviously 1 and 1 in opening duels. And that's not to say that the rest of the roster isn't pulling their weight, right? If we look at Harry Lobster, maybe not as much kills or damage, but high KAST and high opening duels. So that means he's really playing the entry role here. He's trying to get them their early picks. He's the person you expect to be taking damage. Um, and so, yeah, maybe he doesn't have as much damage dealt, but that's because he's getting those opening entries. Like if you're 2 and 3 for opening duels, you're actually doing your job, in my opinion, as an entry. And I don't think you should be expected to do as well as, say, the Saber player on your team. So, definitely while it's a little bit more of a incomplete picture on the Yakuza side, not everybody putting up the same damage numbers, everybody on their roster is still pulling their weight. We're still seeing really high KAST, even on the person who has done the least amount of damage. And I think the opening duels are one of the most important metrics outside of raw damage that you can have in this game.
well, I believe there's some issues going on with some rulings that are happening right now. So we'll see what happens in a moment with that game. But yeah, we can just carry on looking at sort of the scores. We can maybe even recap what happened from previous rounds. Uh, so how do if you feel both the teams played so far?
Yeah, honestly, I think they've both played quite well. That said, I've been focusing a lot on Pogfish's performance in this series. And that's because I think everybody expected Yakuza to be the favorite here. I expected Yakuza to be the favorite here. And if anything, clearly did not give Pogfish enough credit. So their performance, while this match is close, compared to what we thought they would do in this series, their performance has been absolutely amazing. It's no small feat to be able to hold your own against one of the most established teams in DPL. And Pogfish are making it look easy, right? A lot of these rounds, Yakuza are barely winning. It's getting so close. The gap between these teams in terms of skill is absolutely tiny. And it's made for some really interesting, low second rounds where it could be anybody's game. So yeah, the score is 5-4. It could just as easily go either way to other team right now. I really don't know who's going to win this. I think part of where Yakuza can suffer is when they start to underperform, particularly do not perform as well as they want to. That can negatively affect their mental state. And that is certainly a negative. Um, I think Pogfish in general are a team that has a pretty good atmosphere. They kind of keep things light and aren't necessarily as intense. And I think that lets them perform well in high stress situations. Where that may not help them is in areas where they need a lot of coordination. We haven't really seen a lot of Pogfish's attack right now. We got 6 rounds of defense. That was the majority of this game. So, is Pogfish's coordination going to be enough to keep them in competition? Have they really just been performing well on defense where they can kind of rely more on solo plays? Um, and is Yakuza going to wake up? Right, they have a couple of really, really strong players who can change the round at any second. Geto and Tommy are definitely already performing, but I would say that is definitely more to be seen out of this Yakuza roster as well. I don't want to discredit how Pogfish are doing, but I think we're also not seeing 100% from Yakuza.
Yeah, it seems like they're sort of just letting stuff happen to them and not playing as a team. They're kind of sort of spread out together. And yeah, definitely they could play better than they are right now. So it's It's whether or not they're able to come back in these last few rounds and win the game.
Yeah, I do not think that this game or this series is anywhere close to over. I think there's still a lot to be determined. Um, a lot of teams, particularly a lot of stronger teams, get better in match 2, match 3 once they've had a little bit time to warm up. It really could change at any moment. It's way too close, and if any one team gets the mental edge right now, that could be enough to tip things in their favor. So both of these teams should really focus on staying calm, staying cool, playing the very best game that they can, because really any small change could be enough to make or break it for one of these teams. So it's really important that they stay focused, don't get tilted in particular, and try and reset and keep playing a strong game, and think a little bit about what your teams have been doing well so far. So on the Yakuza side, they've been doing a lot of 5-person pushes. It's been a lot of quick plays, kind of keeping things simple and fast, and a lot of times they get shut down by good crossfires on the Pogfish side. So I think Yakuza need to think a little bit more about their flash placement, really figure out, where Pogfish are going to try and rat from, and quickly clear out those angles. A lot of the time gets run off the clock when Yakuza is on attack, and then they get stuck in these situations where there's 20 seconds on the clock, they still haven't defused the bomb, they have to maybe make some more aggressive plays, and Pogfish can just swing them without being as worried about Yakuza clearing all their angles. So maybe Yakuza could look at moving a little faster to sort of compensate for that. On the flip side of things, Pogfish been playing defense really well, but now they need to start thinking about their attack. Particularly how they want to, break through Yakuza. They struggled on a couple of their attack rounds. Sometimes they get split on other sides of the map. Sometimes they didn't look 100% coordinated. So, there's definitely room for adjustment from both teams. And if either of them are able to make a, quick call on the fly, a quick adjustment that allows them to, figure out what their team is doing to, what their opponent is doing to exploit their attacks, then we could see things change. It's really so close that like the tiniest little improvement from either team could tip the balances here.
Yeah, it looks like the pause has been taken off, and we're going back to where the score was 4-2 to Pogfish. So yeah, we are restarting from halftime. Sorry, not restarting from the beginning. We're restarting from halftime, so the score is 4-2 to Pogfish. And we will get to the game very soon.
So, what do you think about Yakuza so far? Do you think that they're playing at 100%? Do you think there's some things going on? Do they look like the Yakuza that you're used to watching?
Well, Yakuza, I think last season, there was the top three. It was Nemesis. It was Nemesis. It was yeah. Sorry, it was Nemesis, Yakuza, and Depth. Those were the three teams that were top. And Depth beat Yakuza for the final spot. But I believe that Yakuza probably would have had the best fight against Nemesis in that situation. So, they are playing to what I believe is not their best ability, and I believe they have a lot more in them. But Pogfish are just, sort of exploiting their weakness right now and are playing very well against them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is maybe not the best we could possibly see from Yakuza. And there's still time to see it. They have a lot of room to warm up here. I think they're just getting started. And I think Pogfish, while they've had a really strong start, they're going to have to keep performing at that level to hang against this team. So we're going into Kill House now. This is one of the newer maps that have come out. Kind of an interesting breezeway. It looks like Pogfish are just completely ignoring Kitchen, which Yakuza are a little bit more worried about. So it seems like we may see a bit of a wasted charge here. And the question is, if Yakuza are able to take breezeway control through Kitchen, how well are Pogfish going to be able to hold this club room, right? I don't see barbed wire here, which is a little bit odd. Oh no, it looks like they do have one on the left side of Breezeway. So they're really going to have to hold that hard. They have two mollies that are close by, one on Dylan, one on Fishy. But it's going to get tight. Flogel or Yakuza are going to get a lot of early map control here. They're going to be one room away from bomb. They're going to have a lot of time on this clock if they play it well. So it's really up to Pogfish here to slow down, run time off the clock, and not give up a lot of early deaths.
Yeah, well, it seems like they've already pushed into that breezeway courtyard area. And Fishy was trying to get some wall bangs at the start of the round. Asbo doing the same, sort of on top of a seat, it seems like. And Tommy's able to get the kickoff. Biggie Cheese with a saber. Merchant is able to take out MF Cream. That could be a very important kill to the round, but Biggie Cheese trades off Asbo. Another molly. Oh, but Fishy pushes too far, and Tommy is able to take him out. It is a 3v4 here. Foom is still holding that reception.
Yeah,
Dylan.
it looks like they're worried about the green push still, but we see all four people from Yakuza pushing in right now.
Yeah, Dylan able to get one. Merchant with the Igma on top of the stage. Is he able to do anything? Foom taking out two, though. It is Biggie Cheese with the saber. Foom has just saved the round there. Biggie Cheese in a 1v3 situation. Merchant on the last legs of his life. Is he able to just do anything? Or is Biggie Cheese going to take him out?
Yeah,
I think Biggie Cheese is just going to save the saber. He's got it and is just holding that angle. Great round there from Pogfish, making it 5-2, I believe.
Wow. Yeah, so it's 5-2 now, and really, really great hold from Pogfish. Played the crossfires really well, and again, I don't really know exactly what Yakuza can do to counter this, but it seems like a lot of the time Yakuza gets so worried about one particular person or one side of the room that someone else swings from the other room, and in this case, Foom just picks up two. Nobody was looking at him. Nobody had that angle covered. That's really a coordination issue on the Yakuza side, right? If they got the flashes down, if they took full map control, or at least watched the other side, maybe that round could have gone differently. But instead, three people were worried about stage. The Saber was worried about stage, and Foom comes in, swings from bomb, and just gets the cleanup. It's really just too easy.
Yeah, really good round there from Pogfish. That swing from Foom, like you were saying, that made the round.
All right, so going into Dome now, I think this is also a somewhat new map. A bunch of different options here. So if you're on the defense side, you definitely want to be hanging on to Castle, and if you're on the attack side, you should definitely be worried about it. It's a solid beach, but the north kind of west side of base, excuse me, is actually a pretty good hold for the defenders. If you can get someone back there and then maintain a solid crossfire, you can get somebody up in the back of base who's actually relatively hard to get out, and then maybe hold from ruins as well. It looks like the defense is particularly worried about that jungle push. We have one barb kind of stopping the push straight from castle, and then we have two kind of focused towards pit. We now see the attack is definitely worried about that castle hold. If Yakuza want to push up base here, maybe even go for a wall from the looks of things, they definitely need to be worried about those long angles. So a lot of this is going to come down to whether or not Ghetto can hold off any snipers or long range players. It looks like we have two long range guns. We have an Ingmar on Merchant. We have a large AK on Asbo. The rest of the team, pretty close range weapons. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see, are Pogfish going to try and hold the long angles against Yakuza? Are they going to try and hang back and play for bomb? From the looks of their guns, it seems like they kind of have to play a little closer. We definitely see a setup for that. So Fishy going towards base, maybe going to try and molly lander. But if Yakuza are going for this wall and castle, I'm not sure that Pogfish are in the best position to counter. Foom and Asbo are in castle, no mollies, so one flash really could counter both of them. We see a molly on Dylan playing a little bit back towards bomb, maybe in a rattier spot, and then Merchant will also be watching the long angle towards jungle, but no coverage towards base. So I think Yakuza are probably going to get this for free.
Wow, it seems like they've already kicked that beach. Dylan in that rat spot, like you were saying, he's actually on top of the rock, getting covered by that tree that's in front of him. We'll see if he's able to do anything with that, but he's getting spotted instantly. Has to drop down there. Great shots from Biggie Cheese there with the saber. Flash goes out, and it seems like they've just sort of wasted a flash there. The war charge, I believe, is set. Oh no, the war charge is coming from Rice Cube here. About to go down. Boom, I don't believe he's ready for it. The war charge goes out. Asbo's ready, though. Here you know, he pushes off. Lobster's in. Boom is able to take him out, though. Great molly from whoever that was. I believe that was Fishy. Great molly there. Oh, and Dylan snipes Rice Cube with the knack from half the map away. Boom. It's taken out by Tommy. And it's down to a 4v3. Pogfish on low HP, though, but so are Yaokuza. Asbo is taken down by Tommy once again, and it's now down to 3v3. Tommy has shifted the tides of this round. Fishy's able to take down MF Kroom, though. It's Saber and Blacktar versus everyone else, but the Saber's dead. It's Tommy alone. If Pogfish win this round, they secure the tie. And Tommy goes down. That is 6-2 to Pogfish.
Yeah, that was just a fantastic take from, a fantastic hold from Pogfish there. It seems like Yaokuza weren't really 100% confident with what they were going to do. They wasted a ton of time in base, wasted a flash or two in base as well, and just were not quite prepared for what Pogfish had in store for them. And Pogfish just played really aggressive, right? They kept peeking, switching up their angles, not giving kills, but constantly taking away damage. And it just worked out very much in their favor.
Yeah, great round there from Pogfish, like you were saying. Really great defense.
Okay, so going into Factory now, this is definitely an interesting one. A lot of open space, so really great for snipers. It looks like the Pogfish side were able to recover Saber, so if they could double sniper here, that might be particularly effective. Yaokuza, not a ton of great options. They don't have the wall anymore. Looks like they're talking about going office. They're really going to need to go fast because they cannot afford to take these long-range gunfights without any sort of sniper support. And as they're marking down already, Silos is pretty deadly. You can hold from a bunch of different potential angles. You can fall away really quickly and set up again. It's not super easy to counter. So Yakuza definitely have their work cut out for them here. It looks like Pogfish are particularly worried about the green push. Makes sense dedicating 2 barbs towards that. Looks like they're bringing out the double snipers as well. Very smart. And really, they just need to stop the attackers from getting on the bomb. Once attackers have bomb control on this map, it's pretty hard to get them out of it unless you're pushing dockside. So if you're on silos, you kind of have to push towards bomb. So really, you want to stop the attackers right in the middle of their push. You cannot allow them to get that bomb control. And it looks like Pogfish are setting up for that. They have a more aggressive green hold here, a little worried about the push in the server farm, and then they obviously have a couple of people silos as well, trying to hold that push into office. I think we're going to see Merchant probably trying to counter this office push, but he also has a molly in his hand, so I'm not quite sure what he's worried about. It really looks like the defense are not looking at office right now, so we may see a really good quick push from Yakuza.
Well, yeah, the door charge goes out. So Yakuza just, like how they've been playing the entire time, they're just waiting. They're just baiting out mollies, waiting for the push at the right time, which may cost them the round at some point. Dylan gets off a nice molly and is almost getting wallbanged through the trucks. Asbo gets taken down by MF Kroom, and Dylan's in office with the Yakuza members. He isn't able to do anything. It's now a 2v3, and Merchant has taken damage. It's a 1v5 now, sorry. Gosh, this round is happening so fast. Foom versus Yakuza. Foom getting damage onto Rice Cube. Is he able to take him out? He's able to take him out, but isn't able to stop the bomb, making it, I believe, 6-3 to Pogfish. Great final round there from Yakuza, going into the final quarter of the match.
Yeah, that was a really strong take from Yakuza there. Honestly, though, it really seems like Pogfish were just not at all ready for that push. The one person who had the most important job there was Merchant with the mop. Should have been peeking into office, and instead he has a molly out, looking, at. I think he was worried about docks for some reason. So I don't know. I really think that was a bit of a misplay from Pogfish. Obviously, Yakuza followed up on that with a really strong push, but it did not seem like there were any Pogfish players at all prepared for any type of office push. And so they just took really quick map control, and there was not a lot Pogfish could do to counter it. But I'm really interested to see what happens now that we go into the attacker side for Pogfish. We have not seen this a lot so far in this series. Obviously, they've been playing great on defense, but the real question is, what does their coordination look like? How are they going to push together and play against a really strong defender team that is Yakuza? Particularly on this kill house, there's there's not a clear meta for this map yet. A lot of different options, and everybody might have a different opinion on how this map could be done. As we're seeing already, a lot of drawings, different ideas suggested. It looks like they're talking about a wall charge through office, which is interesting, but obviously that would leave them a little vulnerable to whoever's playing behind bar, whoever's playing up on club. There are definitely some options for the defender here. So I'm really excited to see how they set up against this. It looks like Yakuza are going to spend 4 barbs here, which makes sense. They're a little worried about exactly what they did, which is that push through kitchen. But I think we might see a full green from Pogfish. They might go for this wall charge from the looks of things, as well as spending a nade into office. So are Yakuza going to be playing a little bit more aggressive in office and lockers? Are they going to have that initial presence? Are they going to be playing a little passive and give up that space? It looks like we're seeing one person is going to be playing in office with a molly, so that could do a decent amount of damage to Pogfish's push here. They may not exactly be able to take it very quickly. So it really all depends on whether or not Yakuza are able to hold this office room for long enough. It actually looks like we have 2 now in office, and that's a really strong hold. So Pogfish may be walking into a bit of a trap here.
Well, we see Hogfish pushing the screen. Fishy with this saber on that breezeway. Just sort of checking it out. Checking if he can pick anyone out. I believe he does spot Lobster a bit. Is he able to get any damage? He is not able to get any damage before Lobster backs off. But Pogfish are able to put down a barb. Nade a barb. But Asbo does take damage from somewhere. And Merchant is putting damage through that door. Dylan pushes in. Is he able to take down Tommy? No, not enough damage has been put out, but he's able to finish off Tommy there. Rice Cube pushing Dylan. Asbo has to cover him here, otherwise he's gonna die. Rice Cube goes down though. MF Kroon with the mort. He might not be ready for this wall blow. They have a molly ready, but they believe they're gonna go through the door. The kick. Are they gonna waste the molly there? No, the war charge goes out. Molly misses the door, but spreads to help. Fishy with the saber, getting some, doesn't actually get any damage out. Foom on the other side of the map. MF Kroon takes down, isn't able to do anything, and Fishy takes him down, and Merch takes out Biggie Cheese. It's Lobster alone, and that is the first game to Pogfish. It is 7-3. Well played to
Wow.
Pogfish. Great
Yeah,
first
and
game.
that was just a steamroller. Dylan came in, just walked over the 2 Yakuza players in office. Really, they did not do anything. And it was just kind of easy going from there. A lot of great entries coming out. Dylan really kind of taking this round for his team. And we saw, a solid attempt from the Yakuza side to counter. But once they lost that office control and once the wall charge was down, not a lot of angles for them to play from. And they were not able really to adjust. So a really definitive win from Pogfish there. Yakuza did not seem to have a good solution to Pogfish and kind of just got rolled.
Yeah, it was great game from both sides. My prediction coming out that does mean, Index, that I am the better person here, as I did guess right.
Yeah,
Uh,
you are the superior gamer. That's
yeah.
correct.
So I believe we more than likely will be taking a break and going into game two right after. Um, so we will see you after this break, and we'll see you in about, I don't know, 5-ish minutes. So yeah, good job, Pogfish, and we will see more of Pogfish Yaokuza after this short break. Yo, we're back. We're back with Yaokuza versus Pogfish. Um, game one went to Pogfish. Great playing from both sides. You know, Pogfish sort of has come up from the shadows of rivals and has shown that they're worthy for DPL. They have won. They beat Depth, and they might do it again and beat Yaokuza this time, going into the top 3 of the DPL major. Index, thoughts on the tournament so far and Pogfish's reign of terror that's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely surprised. I was not anticipating this strong of a showing from Pogfish, but I love to see it. It's always great to see a new team kind of enter and really start to perform well. And I feel like they've been very deserving of this win so far. They've played excellent due process. They've played really smart. They've played really aggressive. And they have taken the fight to Yakuza. Yakuza, on the other hand, just not really looking very confident. Playing really slow, playing a little shaky, and every single time that they've slowed down, Pogfish have taken advantage of that, and they've sped up. They've peaked when Yakuza weren't expecting. They've played excellent crossfires. They've really just played exactly like they should be. It's super smart due process, and right now they clearly look like the better team. For a while it was pretty close, and then after the reset, it was just Pogfish all the way. So one-sided. So going into this next game, I think it's going to be really interesting. Are Yakuza going to wake up a little bit, and are they going to start battling back, or have Pogfish just totally destroyed Yakuza's mental? And are they going to run away with this? I really think that it's all on Yakuza now to step up. We know how strong of a team they can be. We know what strong performers they have. And it's really going to be interesting. We're starting off on a pretty interesting kill house. A lot of possible angles and takes here. Reception isn't really the best of pushes. You have a lot of ground to cover if you go through it. Club's pretty good. It kind of gives you straight access to bomb, although there are a lot of gunfights you'd have to take. Kitchen isn't bad either. It gives you access to courtyard, but obviously it means you have to go through a pretty tight choke point in office. So a couple of different ways that the defense can approach this. Either way, I think we're going to see both teams trying to use these windows to their advantage as much as possible. There are a lot of different angles you can get here. Someone playing hallway, watching all the windows on the defender's side may be able to do a ton of damage. So there's a lot of potential here. I think we are probably going to see Yakuza come through club from the way things look. Looks like they have the flash prepared for bar, they have a flash prepared for stage, and they're going to go for the quick push. I think that makes the most sense here. It gives them kind of an open space to take gunfights and then try and push the Pogfish side back. Pogfish, on the other hand, they have a barb set up on stage. I don't know how useful that's going to be. Oftentimes with a barb like that, because the attackers can so easily flash past it, it really ends up not being all that useful. So if Pogfish get pushed out of club, which it looks like they might be, they don't have a ton of people in that room. The Yakuza are going to get easy access to bomb, at which point it may be difficult for Pogfish to claw back into the map. Excuse me, I had the sides mixed up. It looks like we're seeing Yakuza on defense here. So yeah, it looks like they're not playing heavy for club, whereas Pogfish are going to push it quick. So are Yakuza going to be able to hold Pogfish on this club sort of choke point? I think it's going to be pretty challenging. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, the door charge comes out, Flash goes into club, and Biggie Cheese is there just waiting for anything to come by. Some wallbangs coming out from Hack, able to hit Merchant and take him out. Dog gets kicked, and Biggie Cheese takes out Asbo. Boom and Pack are fighting over this top hall, and Pack goes down. It is a 3v4. Rice Cube getting some damage through. Kroom aims to take out 2. Fishy last alive with Clacker and Nade. He's gonna save. Great play there from Yaokuza. First round, and they win it. Great defense.
Yep, that was just a excellent hold on their part. They did not play very heavy for club there from the looks of things, but yeah, it kind of just seems like Pogfish lost a couple of people early. Merchant, Asbo going down kind of pretty much at the very beginning of the round, and that sort of sealed their fate. Really, really good hold there from Yaokuza, not giving them any space. And clearly they are here to play. They are not ready to lose this one. Wow, that's a really interesting angle that Lobster is holding. Going to remember that one. But yeah, it seems like maybe we're seeing Yaokuza wake up a little bit. They're not ready to let this one go. If Ghetto stays hot, if Taiga is able to perform as well, this series is far from over.
Yeah. Yakuza, top tier defense. We might see Pogfish just slow down a little here, and Yakuza might be able to take a game, potentially, and make it go into game 3, and potentially overtime, if we see some interesting stuff happen.
Yeah. I definitely think this could go all the way. I think neither of these teams are ready to take a loss. They're both extremely hungry. They both have a lot to prove. They both want to make it to tomorrow. So they are not going to give either team much leeway. I think both of them are going to bring 100% and give it all they have. So I would really love to see Yaokuza, start firing on all cylinders and pull this one back. I know they're a pretty comfortable team on defense. Pogfish have had a pretty strong start so far. It seems like they've called some pretty great strats. Going into the C store, this is a hard one. If you're a defender, it's really quite challenging. There's not a lot of room to work with. Anywhere the attackers push, you kind of immediately get pushed back onto bomb. It looks like we're going to see a storefront blow coming out from Pogfish. I think that's a pretty smart move. It just gives you direct access to bomb with very little to counter. And Office, while it looks good, it's a little deceptive because the defenders can actually hold it pretty well. So we're seeing one barb coming out to block that close push, but it seems like Pogfish are actually going to try and push from the left. Oh, and there's another barb to block it off. So it really depends on how Yaokuza want to try and hold this. Like, we're definitely going to see someone Arcade, definitely going to see someone Tellers. They might even cheat into Office once the storefront blow comes out, so they get that extra map coverage. It's a pretty good spot to hold because then you can kind of look directly onto bomb, and if you have a molly, that's even better. So I think from the Pogfish side, we're really going to want to see a quick push here, take those early kills, set themselves up with the advantage. If they take too long or if they don't take enough map control, Yaokuza may just end up peeking them from a bunch of different angles. Overall, though, I do think that this is going to go the way of the attackers. It's a really challenging map for defenders, so Yaokuza have their work cut out for them.
Well, yeah, we see, quite a strange wall charge position for this storefront come out. The freezer side able to get this long angle on storefront, but we'll see whether or not it'll work. The wall charge about to get placed, Fishy with a clacker once again. And Asbo and Foom both on the storage side. Photon sort of rotating around in bathroom. MF Kroom as well. Peaks from freezer. Oh, pardon me. Sorry, pardon me. Peaks on freezer. And is about to get a molly. Flash goes out. Lovely molly there from MF Kroom. But dies to the molly himself. It was so good that it killed him. Photon is the only one alive in the left side of the map. Oh, but Biggie Cheese and Photon, both with that coordination, both getting a kill with the knack. And Photon's able to make it out alive.
Big whip from Foom there.
putting some knack bullets into a box. But now all of the Yaokuza are on the right side of the map and Pogfish are all on the left. We'll see what they can do here. Merchant with an AK. Photon playing it safe. Flash goes out. Oh, and Merch is able to take down 2. It is down to Flogel in a 1v2 situation. He's able to take down 1. Is he able to get Fishy here? He's able to deal very little amount of damage. But he has that telecontrol. This could be bad for Fishy. 35 seconds left on the bomb. He's opened up Teller. He's closed it. That Teller just isn't the best for Fishy. But he's rotating out. He's not holding that Teller position. Fishy knows it. Back into Teller. Door opens. Oh, but Floga has taken some damage there. This could mean Fishy gets the win here. The HP advantage as well on Fishy. Bomb, half, 48%, 10 seconds, 60. And he's able to take out Flogel. Great round there from Pogfish. And they're able to get the defuse. 1-1.
Wow,
going into the third round.
Yeah, I mean, that was really well played. Fishy was in a massive disadvantage there. Honestly, that was Flogel's round to win. He had the perfect angle. He had this beautiful peek on the bomb. Fishy, while defusing, would not have been able to see Flogel's. And it said Flogel's win for the aggressive 1v1. He really just took the gunfight and lost it. So Fishy played that really well, just spent a ton of time really trying to bait out Flogel, was not super committed to the defuse, and took his time. He was really trying to get that peak, because that's really what he needed, right? If Fishy tries to stick the defuse there, Flogel just shoots him in the back. So he was really trying to do whatever he could to force Flogel to peek him, and Flogel fell for it. He went for the aggressive play, tried to swing on him, and it did not work out in his favor. So maybe he didn't quite have the right angle onto bomb, and he had to push out. Either way, really well played by Pogfish there. Honestly, pretty well played by Yaokuza too. They set up well. They had a pretty good hold. They tried to take up as much map control as possible, but ultimately just lost the 1v1. So going into Dome now, this is a pretty popular one, but we do see a variety of strategies employed. Some people really like to push pit, like the push into observation with the power take. It also is able to counter the person playing on top of power, because that can be a pretty powerful spot. On the other hand, a lot of people like to blow jungle, go for the quick push straight onto bomb, but obviously you have to worry about base, you have to worry about the person in pit, and you have to worry about whoever is ruins. So, definitely putting someone up on beach makes sense, but this map is actually tough for attackers. You have a lot of angles to worry about. You have the small ruins to clear, you have the big ruins to clear, and if you are going to push pit, there are a number of choke points that you can be susceptible to. So it's definitely not an easy push, and I think we're seeing a push for pit coming out from Pogfish. It's a solid hold. It really depends on how Yaokuza want to play this. It looks like they're playing a little aggressively towards pit right now. They have 3 people in there, including their mop. They have one player sort of playing on top of power, which is a really strong spot. And then it looks like their mop is gonna play obs watching pit side. So I think Pogfish might struggle here. I do see a nade, so they might have to use that early. It really depends on how long Yaokuza can hold them out on this pit.
Well, the door charge goes out. The kick from Merchant. Flogel trying to put some damage in. Isn't able to hit anything, and Asper's pushed up deep. He might be able to catch Flogel out off guard if he eats through that stairs. Grenade goes out, gets rid of one of the barbs, but MF Kroom is able to get a kill onto Asbo there. Fishy pushing up. He's not able to do anything against Flogel. Dylan takes out Flogel with the trade. It is a 3v4. 2 in observation, and MF Kroom with the second snipe of this round, able to take out Dylan. It is a 2v4. Merchant on the Saber, Foom on the AK. Is Foom able to do anything here? Same with Merchant. Merchant with the Saber. Biggie Cheese peeks and kills Foom. It's all down to Merchant. And he isn't able to do anything. That is the second round for Yaokuza. 2-1.
Yeah, and that's just a beautiful hold from Yaokuza. We had Ghetto getting 2 really, really important picks there. First getting Asbo as he was kind of trying to get that initial push through pit. then picking up Dylan, kind of a little bit farther back in there. Honestly, just a great hold and a textbook crossfire, and then another really good crossfire on Bomb and Ruins on the west side of the map. So really well played on their part, and the attack just did not really know what to do about it. They got totally disoriented in pit. Their pit got stalled out. Their push got stalled out. One player even got completely isolated by the molly and just got cleaned up. And then on the beach push side of things, they just got crossfired and did not have a lot of support from the rest of their team. So overall, really well played by Yaokuza. Going into the kill house now, we have Yaokuza on attack, Pogfish are on defense. And last time when Pogfish pushed this map, they went through club to office. It looks like Yakuza want to do the exact opposite. They're really, really interested in getting that courtyard control. That's a really smart move. Obviously, you need to be a little bit worried about those windows, but if they're able to take control of courtyard, they can pretty much clear out all of hallway, which allows them to have a pretty safe defuse. So the kitchen push is tough. Kitchen to office is a real choke point. If Pogfish play this well with barbs and mollies, it's going to be difficult for Yakuza. But it looks like Dylan has put up an even more aggressive barb in kitchen, so maybe they want to hold them right at the door. They're not interested in giving them any map control whatsoever. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Obviously, that puts a lot of pressure on the beginning of this round. It's all about this initial push. Are Pogfish going to find some initial damage? Are Yakuza just going to run blind into a total setup? Or are Pogfish not going to find a lot here? Are they going to give up those early entries? And are Yakuza just going to steamroll the rest of the site?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens here. But it does seem like Dylan's put a good barb there. The diagonal barb in that kitchen area that will slow down Yakuza. And it does seem like they've got a kick on courtyard. They've got the charge ready. They're about to stick it on the door. And we'll see what dangers could happen here. Someone's getting spotted by the UAV. That was very close. Door charge is set. MF Green rotating around the opposite side of the map, and the door charge goes out. Great molly there from Dylan. I believe. It might have been Fishy, actually, sorry. And they've all gathered around. Yakuza gathering around in that one sort of top part of the map. We see they're still outside of this map. They're not pushing in. And the flashes go out. Oh, Asbo, though, with a lovely shot there from courtyard. Dylan able to take down Lobster. MF Groom trading with Asbo, and Flogel taking down Foom. Oh, but Photon is able to take down Dylan. Now it's all down to Merchant as Fishy takes out MF Groom and Biggie Cheese trades. The Gruber and a Dream. He's pushing round. Some warbangs actually go into, I believe, Photon there from the team. Oh, and Clovis able to take him down with the warbangs. Lovely kill there. That is 3-1 to Yakuza.
Yeah, that was sort of exactly how you thought it would go. They played pretty slow on kitchen at first, waited out the mollies, super smart. Pogfish decided to give up the room. It kind of makes sense. So the flashbangs came in, so if they did stay in there, it probably wouldn't have been very good news for them. But after you give up kitchen, you don't have a lot of more to give, right? Once the attackers have hold of kitchen, they're one room away from office. It means you have to hold pretty hard in hallway, and that's sort of where Yakuza shined. They had some great peeks through the windows, got those early picks. I think Foom also dying pretty quickly with a molly in hand, so maybe he should have used that a little faster. But ultimately, the courtyard control was key for Yakuza. They were able to totally shut down hallway. All the hallway players were peeking a little aggressively, giving Yakuza a little too much, and it did not work out in their favor. So it's interesting, we're sort of seeing a similar level of aggression from Pogfish like we saw in the first match, but it seems like Yakuza are ready for it this time, and they're winning their gunfights. And now this is where you start to see the downsides of an aggressive style, where there's a ton of time on the clock. The attackers haven't pushed very heavily, but if you're peeking early and dying, then you're just totally leaving your team defenseless, right? Merchant really had no way to win that round. So taking those 1v1 gunfights, if you're winning them, that could be very appealing. But once you start losing a couple of them, you start losing rounds because of it.
Yeah.
Looking on the C store now, there are a couple of different options. So we saw Pogfish pushing through storefront. It ended up not being super useful, right? They really needed to take more storage control than anything else, and ended up pretty much on the left side of the map anyway. Yaokuza are interested in countering exactly what they did on defense. So when Pogfish pushed, Yakuza immediately took Teller and office control, and it looks like Yakuza want to deny that deny that from the defenders when they're attacking. So they're going to go for that office push, split through. It looks like they're also going to use a grenade on storage. So they're really interested in pushing the defenders into the center of the map where there isn't a lot of great cover and force them into awkward positions. So I think we're going to see a somewhat slow coordinated push here from Yakuza, or not. It looks like they're also exploring the possibility of storefront, which is another solid option. Yeah, it looks like they're committing to that now. So they might be doing exactly what Pogfish did. So the question is, do Pogfish have a good understanding of why this strategy is effective, and do they know how to counter it? Are they going to take good office and teller control like Yakuza did? Are they going to make sure that their arcade player can stay alive and sort of hold off the attackers? It looks like we also have some wrap plays ready in Freezer. We have Fishy and Asbo on pretty close range guns. Fishy with the auto, Asbo with the tub. And then a lot more long range guns on the right side of the map in office. It looks like Foom is actually just playing an office straight up, not even worried about the push in there. And with Merchant with a Molly ready towards storefront.
Well, yeah, we see, a solid looking push from Yakuza coming out here. Nade on that storage barb, gonna give them access to that green door, and we see the war charge come out. And MF Krim seems to be rotating round to support that war charge. Merchant with the Lagros. He is able to give call-outs to his teammates, so Fishy will be there with the auto. All rightish body there does stop half of the war charge from coming through, but it's whether or not that he can play off this barb here and from Freezer. Photon. Oh, but he gets out-ratted by Asbo. And Flogel is trapped. Fishy is able to take him out. Asbo with the tub still in Freezer. Is he able to take out Biggie Cheese? He shotguns something. Doesn't hit Biggie Cheese at all. Merchant, low HP though. Most of the Pogfish members full HP. And Yakuza with low HP on the other side. MF Kroom trying to get rid of Asbo inside of Freezer. Fishy able to take down another member of Yakuza with the auto. He's pushing up. He wants more. He's bloodthirsty. I believe he's run out of ammo. Maybe not. He's just sitting there. He's Foom able to take out Biggie Cheese, but MF Kroom takes out Fishy and is just going to run out there and save that clacker, I believe. Oh no, he's peeking. Foom is peeking as well. They might actually be able to open up Teller and peek here. They haven't actually thought about it. Merchant, I believe, is going to the door. He's going to the door. He's about to open. He's opening, and Foom is able to take him out. Lovely kill, making it 3-2 to Pogfish.
Yeah, Foom's just desperate to pad his stats there a little bit. Honestly, fantastic holds from Pogfish. They played that so well. Completely shut down the people in Freezer, and Yakuza were not playing off each other there at all, so he kind of died with no support. And then a really good hold in storefront, a lot of great crossfires, a solid barbed wire down so that they couldn't really push through Teller, and then the auto shotty right on top of Bomb, completely denying any push there. So, Yakuza got some good flashes in, but they didn't have any support from Freezer, so they were really worried about that, and it kind of stalled out any push onto Fridges. And even if they made it onto Fridges, there was Foom and Dylan sitting in the back, completely ready for any push to crossfire that as well. So playing that extremely well. And Yakuza had the flash placement, had the strategy, but ultimately just ended up not having the coordination necessary to execute that split push properly. Moving on to Dome, we saw a push through Pit from the Pogfish side that did not work out very well. So the question is, Yakuza, knowing how well they dismantled the Pit push when they were on defense, are they going to risk it themselves? It looks like they are. And if that's the case, are Pogfish going to be worried about it as well? A person on power is always a good way to play. Having them mop up an observation with another support, making sure you have mollies on your pit players to slow down any pushes there, and then obviously having something in place to counter the beach push that is almost certain to come out. A lot of different options here on this map, and it'll be interesting to see these two teams switch roles, particularly because they're going to be playing the same thing. So we'll kind of get to see how each of them approach this type of push. So Pogfish, we saw, were a little bit uncoordinated when they pushed through this. They kind of got caught in different angles, ended up taking a bunch of solo fights that they lost. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Yaokuza are going to fall into the same trap. Are they going to get crossfired? Are they going to get split up by mollies? Or are they going to make sure to push this together, make sure they're playing off each other, and kind of go for a slower push? It seems like Pogfish aren't even really all set up that well to counter Pit right now. Merchant might be coming around to observation now to help hold this, but they definitely don't have the same level of support in Pit that Yakuza had when they were playing on defense. So if Yakuza push this quickly and get that early kill, Pogfish will not have a great answer. Okay, it looks like we have the Molly coming down onto Pit. Okay, it looks like they are playing this pretty slow. So they're waiting for the grenade to go down, really making sure that they're setting up. Again, they know how lethal the person on power can be. They're really worried about that. They threw the flash down, trying to counter out that spot, and nobody's even playing there. So I know it doesn't look like much, but that was actually really smart if there was somebody there. Really great early opening pick on Beach as well. Things are looking good for Yakuza so far. They're taking base control and observation, and Pogfish do not have a great answer. A solo peek from Asbo gets the kill. Fishy in a fight now. He gets his as well. Two really big fights, and wow, Merchant cleaning up as well. So really great picks coming out. It seems like Merchant might go for another. Dylan might be a little isolated, but it's not enough. We have Ghetto alone again in a 1v2, low HP. Dylan half HP, Asbo half HP. Can Ghetto take this early 1v1? Seems like he's a little worried about Ruins, but he really should be worried about Pit, since Asbo is just waiting to swing out there the moment Ghetto is pushing. Dylan also not giving him anything. 30 seconds on the clock. He doesn't have a lot of time here. Dylan swings and pushes Ghetto back. We have Asbo now in Pit. Took some attention there, lost a little bit of damage, and Dylan cleans him up. Ultimately, a great play from Pogfish there. A little risky. They took two solo gunfights against players. If either of those didn't go well, things would have been very different. But ultimately, they won their ones. And it was as simple as that. Yakuza got this great early push into observation, but it was not enough. Um, yeah, I mean, it's really just back and forth right now. It really could go one way or another. If we want to take a quick look at the stats, now that we are at 3-3, see how things are going so far. Let's take a look here. All right, we have Fishy at the top of Pogfish, 735 damage, 100% KAST, best weapon AP 25, doing really well for his team. Asbo, not far behind him, seems like he did not do very well on the attacker side, but is now at 191 ADR on defense. Honestly, a great showing from him too, 83% KAST. That's one of the great things about being able to see damage is not a lot of kills on the board, but a lot of damage. That means he's the one kind of softening up enemies for his teammates to ultimately get the kill on. It's a really important role. And then on the Yakuza side, we have Ghetto again at the top, 779 damage. And right after that, Tommy, also another good showing. They're both trying to keep their team in this. We have Ghetto 100% KAST, Tommy 83%. But again, we have Lobster 100% KAST, even though he has not done much damage. So he is really getting the entries for his team. He is getting traded. And so he's really doing his job too. Everybody is 100% committed to this battle. So going into Factory now, this is going to be a relatively interesting one. there are a bunch of different options here for the attackers to take. They could go server farms into office. That's always a good play and gives you sight over bomb. Storage to power is a decent push. It looks like they're entertaining that right now. Dock, either the wall charge or the door charge on the bottom left. Both of those are solid options too, although those leave you vulnerable to silos. It seems like we're seeing a pretty heavy hold in office and silos from Pogfish, really trying to play those long angles. We have the Legros, we have the Mop, we have 2 Ingmars, so they really want to take these long range gunfights. We have Foom going up first against Yaokuza. It looks like he's going to go up against 3 Yaokuza players right now, pushing out through storage. It looks like the push is going to happen anytime now. They have a Black Tar, 4 APs, so a little bit closer range weapons than the defenders, and we have 2 people coming into server farms now. Here comes the push.
Yeah, and they've pushed in Foom. Lovely kill onto Rice Cube there. Flogel actually taking out Fishy, and Fishy trades, though, with the Molotov, I believe. Flogel's alone in storage, with 2 in server farm. It's a 4v3. They've sort of got these sites locked down. They have to push from these very strange angles, the Yaokuza members, and I believe Pogfish, you know, getting those 2 kills from the start has won them around here. But once again, Yaokuza are slowly taking this push. Power is out, so they have got power control. And Asbo, MF Kroom pushing up. Asbo's able to take him down, though. Foom getting some shots off to Harry Lobster. But Flogel takes down Dylan in the process. Lobster office. Flogel on bomb, almost. And Asbo's going to be slow peeking round onto bomb. Merchant able to tag Flogel. That could be massive. Lobster drops down, but Asbo doesn't realize. Finally gets some shots onto Lobster, but whiffs. It's down to Foom. It's a 1v2 now. How is this 1v4, this 3v4 become a 1v2? Foom, with the Igmar alone, just has to hold the bomb here for 10 more seconds if possible. Is able to down a 1, but Harry Lobster gets him. That is 4-3 to Flogel, to Yaokuza, if they're able to defuse the bomb, and it seems like they are. So the score now is 4-3 to Yaokuza.
Yeah, it's a bit of a choke there from Asbo. I'd have loved to see his perspective there, because it seems like he had the perfect angle. Nobody looking at him. Lobster was literally trying to fight somebody else and killed somebody else, while Asbo was just staring at him, and then he proceeded to whiff a couple of shots there. So a little unfortunate. If he had gotten that kill, that would have put his team in a 2v1 and most likely would have won them the round. But it happens. And overall, a really strong push from Yaokuza. Seems like a couple of missed gunfights there, but ultimately winning the round. A really good push from Flogel there, getting onto bomb at the end. Yeah, overall a really strong take, and I think a lot of that was that initial push through power. It kind of left Pogfish on the back foot. Obviously, when things are that dark, it's pretty hard to see any attackers pushing up, and it lets them get a lot more map control. Moving on to Kill House, another really interesting large kill house. We see a lot of people go through Brick House here, which obviously means that Pogfish are probably going to be pretty worried about defending for it. You're also going to have to take Kitchen as attack 2 in order to get that button open, which makes the map more interesting, because then it locks down the rotate from club. You have to go through lockers. So if Yaokuza do want to go into club here, it will mean that they need to push into Kitchen as well. They will be a little bit separated. They're kind of going to have to do 2 pushes on different sides of the map at the same time, whereas in Brick House, it kind of lets you more easily take up map control with all one coordinated push. It seems like there's a little bit of debate going on in their team. We have conflicting drawings. One person seems to be calling Brick House, one person seems to be saying Club, but ultimately, looking at where they have icons placed right now, it's going to be a club push. So it's going to be interesting. Are they going to sort of dedicate more people towards reception, try and take Kitchen early, and then focus club? Or are they going to go for the early club push, get them all outside of club, take that vault control, and then go for button? It'll be sort of interesting to see how Pogfish react too. If they're able to read this club push correctly, they might be able to totally just jump on top of Kitchen,
hold that really narrow checkpoint in kitchen and not give them a whole lot of room to push through. So it really depends on how these early fights go out. Are Pogfish going to take the fight to Yaokuza, try and hold on to club? It seems like right now they are not entirely prepared for this push. They have no mollies ready for this. It looks like Asbo is kind of in that area, but is not quite focused on that door. Merchant might get caught out here.
Yeah, we see Yaokuza here getting set up for this attack. Merchant, I don't think, realizes that they're going to blow the door next to him. They haven't got a barb ready for it. But Merchant's able to put down some damage onto some players and has to rotate fast. He does get taken out by Flogel, but Fishy trades. And there's a lot of trading going on, but it seems like Pogfish are able to come in clutch and is able to take down one extra member from Yaokuza. Asbo takes out Rice Cube, Fishy takes out Biggie Cheese, and Rice Cube takes out Foom. We've got Dylan, Fishy, Asbo alive, with MF Crewman, Lobster still alive on Yakuza's side. They've got the button. They've done half the push so far. They just need to get to the other half, which is the vault. MF Crewman's going really the wrong side of the push here, as Vault has blocked off one side of that hall. They're going to have to rotate around the other side if they want to do this fast and efficiently. They're still going to carry on with this club, though. Lobster going round through the breach once again. And Dylan holding that bar with a knack. Fishy with the Lagros. And Asbo is inside Vault. We've got Lobster pushing up. Fishy with the Lagros. They hear them, but they haven't got any wallbangs down. Asbo's still trying to get some wallbangs. They've got lockers control here. Fishy just needs to hold this green door. Otherwise, we could see a very bad play from Pogfish here. Fishy holding it, Dylan. Fishy's is able to take him down. It's only Ghetto left. He kicks the door at Brick House. Is Dylan ready for this? I don't think he is. He hears him though. He knows he's there. The Nap, is he able to do anything? He's not. It's 7 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. But they're able to take him down in time, and that is the round to Pogfish 4-4.
Yeah, Pogfish's defense is just beautiful here. Every single round, they are taking as much time as they possibly can off the clock. They get a couple of early fights. Maybe they win them, maybe they don't. But either way, they then get the hell out of there and set up for the next best possible hold. It's really smart defense, and it seems like Yakuza are not 100% confident on countering it. They were able to sort of get that club control, but ended up walking on top of a molly, losing some gunfights, and bam, all of a sudden they're in not so great of a spot. And then you have Ghetto and I believe that was Lobster or Taiga trying to, hold on to the other side of the map. Were able to get button control, but Pogfish weren't even interested in that. They completely set up for the hold on Vault and were able just to completely repel all of the attackers. So great job on their part. Moving into the C store, this is a tough one. Not a lot of great cover in storefront. It's pretty easy to just wall charge it and take control of bomb. So the defenders have to play a little ratty. You definitely want freezer presence. You definitely want office presence. Maybe hope they go storage so you can hold them there and get some kills. Arcade's pretty important too. You really kind of have to give the attackers bomb here, or yeah, there's just no good initial hold, right? Everybody's going to want to go storefront. Everybody's going to want to just push straight onto bomb. And as a defender, you can't really hold that without taking 1v1 fights, which is what you don't want to be doing. So maybe they'll go for some initial damage, but it seems like a lot of the barbs are set up to allow them to push into storefront and then stop wherever they try and go next, right? So they have one set up to try and stop the freezer take, one set up to kind of slow them down, stop them from getting onto bomb, one set up to stop them from getting into office, and then after that, the defenders will need to be able to swing out from wherever the attackers aren't and try and take back some map control and fight those fights, particularly around arcade and bathroom. It looks like the attackers are also looking at a green push, but ultimately I think they're going for 4-1 storefront storage. So I think it's just going to be a quick play through storefront that Pogfish need to be ready for. We're seeing a knack, a tub, 2 AKs, 1 big AK, and 2 mollies on Asbo, it looks like. 4 mollies in total for this map. We have 2 mollies on Fishy, 2 mollies on Asbo. If one of them dies early, that's going to be a massive waste of util. So we'll see if it pays off for them.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We've got the wall charge once again. Yaokuza, big fans of their wall charges. They've used them every round if they possibly can. But great molly there from, I think, Fishy, I believe. Flogel has kicked the green door to storage. But I don't think it's doing anything. Merchant getting tagged by Flogel from that office red door. And they're sort of just waiting outside once again. The flash goes in. Actually, yes, yeah, flash and a smoke goes in, actually. And they've sort of... Pogfish have given up storefront. Dylan in a fight against MF Crew. Ice Cube able to take down Asbo. And Merchant pushes with the tub. And dies to Harry Lobster. Dylan, once again with the knack. Fishy, well, but Flogel is able to take out Foom. Dylan against Rice Cube. Is he able to do anything here? They've whiffed. And it's Fishy last alive against MF Crew. Is he able to do anything? He's not. And that is 5-4 to Yaokuza.
Yeah, that was a convincing take right there. That said, if I'm being completely honest, this map is not great for defenders. There's just really not a lot you can do. You don't have a lot of rooms in which defenders have any type of advantage. And every single one of these rooms, you can be easily flashed out, and there's no clear way to play an anti-flash. So overall, a really, really strong take from Yaokuza. And Pogfish just did not have a great answer. You know, again, we saw a lot of mollies were taken. 4 mollies were taken for this map. And it did not do very much. Asbo died with both mollies, I think, in tellers. So not able to do a whole lot there. And it was a little bit of waste of an eco. You know, maybe they could have used that in previous rounds to their advantage. Alrighty, I think we should have updated stats if we want to take a look at those. Kind of see how things are doing now that we are halfway through this map. If you'll remember, Pogfish took map 1, so Yaokuza need to win this. There's really no room for error whatsoever. And as we've kind of seen so far already, the usual leaders are on top of the scoreboard. We have Ghetto and Tommy for Yaokuza. Huge impact, 1,000 damage each, very close. It seems like a little bit higher KAST for Ghetto. That means he's probably getting traded a little more, but 90%, 100%, it really is pretty minor difference. Followed up by that, we have Taiga and Flogel, kind of middle of the pack. Flogel is definitely having a little bit higher impact. He's also 2 and 4 on opening duels, so taking a lot of those early gunfights for his team. And maybe he's not winning all of them, but he's clearly getting traded. Then on the Pogfish side, pretty weak actually in terms of opening duel success, which is kind of interesting considering how well a lot of their defender rounds have gone. That said, Fishy and Asbo showing up big for their team. Fishy on top, 73 ADR on attack, 202 ADR on defense. Asbo 0 ADR on attack, 172 ADR on defense. So this is clearly a team that is kind of putting up a bigger showing on their defender sides. It's really going to come down to how they play their attack here. We've seen a pretty even mix from Yaokuza in terms of how they're performing, but it seems like the Pogfish side get a little discoordinated, have some issues communicating in those sort of low body, high stress rounds that are happening on their attacker sides. So going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously, you know, we have Foom doing pretty well. Also kind of leaning towards the defender side in terms of his performance. And then Dylan underneath him, not as much damage, but higher KAST, means he's getting traded, means he's setting his team up for success in later rounds. And Merchant kind of, you know, having a middling but solid performance. Still, you know, a lot to be seen from him this particular game. I think he was doing pretty hot in the first one and has sort of struggled to find his footing here. So overall, this is a little bit of a different game. The first one we saw a pretty even leaderboard all the way across. This one we're sort of seeing 2 people on each team sort of carrying a disproportionate amount of the weight. So it's really falling on their shoulders to make sure that these rounds are going their team's way. We're now executing on Factory here. We have a push coming out again on Storage from the attacker side. We'll see if it goes differently for them.
Well, yeah, we see the door charge actually going to green, it seems like. I don't know where this door charge is going to be placed. Maybe on the office door? Who knows? But we do see Biggie Cheese in server farm. Nade goes out, destroying that barb. Will Biggie Cheese be able to do anything here? See. The kick comes out. MF Groom getting a hit on Dylan. Dylan does not want to be the one pushing in first, as he's the one with the door charge. If he dies, there could be some very clippable stuff that comes with Yaokuza's team later on in the round. This door charge is still yet to be used. I believe it's about to be used on this office door. Here we are. MF Groom, good molly, but a bit too early. They are going to blow after this molly. And Rice Cube able to put some damage down. Oh, but guess who gets taken out by the door charge? Lovely kill there. That's going to change the course of the round. The Morp has been... the Morp's down. That could be potentially, like, round losing for Yaokuza. We see Merchant here with the Saber. Is he able to kill Biggie Cheese at the back? No, but Harry Lobs is able to take him out. Rice is able to take him out, and Harry Lobs is able to take out Asbo. Boom here with the Black Tar. Trying to deal some damage to Flogel, who's in the back. So 3v4 now. Biggie Cheese low on HP. Rice Cube and Flogel both on half HP. Where all of Pogfish, apart from Foom, are very low. 10, 20 HP between them. But time's ticking. 27 seconds left on the bomb. Foom is peeking. He's gonna die to Harry Lobster if he doesn't do anything. And he dies to Rice Cube. Dylan pushing up. Swinging. Against Foom's death. And Fishy is just gonna save the Clacker and Saber. Making it 6-4 to Yaokuza, which means we are confirmed going to game 3.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I really felt like Pogfish had such a great advantage that round, right? Like, they blew the door charge, got the kill on Ghetto, had all this control in office, flashed the guy in the back of office. The guy in the back of office was full blind, but there were a couple of Yaokuza players shooting through windows, kind of adding some cover, and it freaked Pogfish out. They decided not to push. Then they had their low HP Saber player go for a peek, ended up not being very successful, and he ended up just getting picked off. And I don't know, it was interesting. Pogfish had sort of this great momentum to green, got this really lucky door charge, and then stopped. And then didn't do anything else for the rest of the round. They just hung out in the, first room they took, didn't even really peak very aggressively, and kind of just sat there. And Yakuza were more than happy to let them do that. So overall, a really kind of weak push from Pogfish there. A lot of hesitancy, which you cannot have on attacker side, particularly on big maps where you need to take a lot of map control. You need to go fast, you need to be decisive, and they were not. So hopefully they'll be able to figure that out on Kill House. Obviously, they are really intent on getting this 6-6. They do not want to let Yaokuza get this win here. But it's a pretty good defender map. This is, I would say, one of the better kill houses for defenders. You kind of have two places where you can really hold strong. You can hunker down in kitchen, really stop them from taking it, and play strong there. You have a couple of pretty good crossfires you can get. There's a pretty solid choke from reception, so it's a little bit harder for the attackers to push. And then obviously once vault doors open, you can peek the green door in brick house from lockers, bar, and vault at the same time. It's really, really hard to push through. It seems like Pogfish are going to do the same thing that Yaokuza did, go through club, but Yakuza are a little bit more ready for it. We have the barb up there. We have the molly ready as well. It looks like they're definitely going to play hard to counter this. So I don't think that Pogfish are going to have the same stroke of luck that Yakuza did when they pushed through and caught Merchant unaware. So overall, I think this is going to be a challenging push for Pogfish. We see the mop in play as well. It looks like the mop, big AK, small AK, they're definitely here to play. Brought some strong guns, looking for some of those longer range fights if they can get them. It really depends on how this early push into club goes. I don't think it's going to go that well for them.
But we see the door charge come out. A great molly there from Flogel. Got in that entire room that they blew. I believe Dylan's called out where Flogel was. Great call there from Dylan. And they're waiting again. They're waiting for that green push. Fishy sorry, no, Asbo and Foom, both in that reception. They're about to push into Club. They might be able to get the flank here if Foom works together with Asbo. They shotgun open the door. Foom isn't peeking though, because they could have got Rice Cube there. But Merchant is able to take down Flogel, and Dylan is on 1 HP.
Oh no.
They're able to take out Rice Cube as well. And Biggie Cheese is able to take down one of the members from Pogfish. A great molly there. Fishy pushes through though. It's Fishy able to get one. He is able to get one. MF Kroom with the barbs still in hand, but he's able to take out another. It is a 2v2. Foom fighting MF Kroom, able to take him down, and it's only Hairy Lobster left. They still need to get this button.
Oh.
And it's down
Huge from Lobster.
to Asbo. This is either the drawable game, where Pogfish still have 2 rounds to win, where they can draw, or Yaokuza go, and it's 1-1 going into game 3. Asbo struggles over the door. Lobster is ready for it, though. He picks up the AK. Lobster seems a bit aggressive here. 37 seconds left. He's just waiting. He has a nade, though. This could be a very good piece of utility that he could use. He has to kick this door, I believe. 23 seconds. And Hairy Lobster gets it. It is Yaokuza 1, Pogfish 1, going into game 3.
Yeah, that was a really interesting round. We saw, the first 2 Yakuza members, good mollies on the club red door, but got a little bit over aggressive and were punished for it. Pogfish had a great advantage. Things were looking fantastic for them, but then ultimately kind of got stuck up around the brick house side. A fantastic hold from Ghetto, completely repelling the attackers, and then finally Lobster clutching up really good wallbang there to cement things. So if we want to take a look at the scoreboard for this match, this is tying things up. Yakuza needed this map, this game, to take things into round 3. Obviously, Pogfish are going to be a little bit unhappy about that, but it was a close game nonetheless. Fishy, a huge performance for his team, 1,600 damage over the series, 202 ADR on defender side, 12-7 as well, 91% KAST. Overall, just a monster game for him. And then on the Yakuza side, another fantastic game for Ghetto. 1,500 damage, 119 ADR on attacker side, 166 ADR on defender side. Basically doing the equivalent of a full opponent's worth of damage every single round. So that's extremely high impact. Plus 100% KAST. Probably just off of the assists he was getting alone. Sure, he went 9-8, but he had 7 assists on top of that. So that is really just a fantastic performance, and some great entries too. We have Tommy, 1100 damage, 122 ADR on the attacker side, going 10-7, 91% KAST, going 2-3 for opening duels too. So really helping his team get into the round and open things up. So overall, a really interesting match. It seems like Yakuza are waking up a little bit, making fewer mistakes, catching Pogfish out on their mistakes. And ultimately, they're showing that they're just a little bit more coordinated than the Pogfish side, which I think is something that was to be expected. This is an experienced team versus a young one. So we're seeing a lot of tenacity from Pogfish, a lot of really, high impact plays, really, cocky plays where they're kind of swinging things that maybe Yakuza aren't expecting, winning 1v1 fights and whatnot. But Yakuza, are a little bit more cool under pressure, taking their time when they can, and sort of taking every advantage possible, going for good wall bangs, and really trying to, play good angles. So it'll be really interesting to see how both of these teams adjust going into game 3. I think we're going to take a break, but we will be back soon with more due process.
Oh god, it's a good game. Yeah, we're back. Pogfish, Yaokuza, overtime. It is currently probably the closest game we've had this season, this tournament. So it's been very, very close. We saw Pogfish win the first game with sort of a clean sweep, and then second game Yaokuza taking it again with a clean sweep. But we saw them tie in the final game, which means we're going to overtime. And in overtime, it is best of 6. So it is first to 4, or you can tie with 3, and then you go on to another overtime. That's how it works. Index, any thoughts on overtime?
Yeah, it's been a extremely close series so far. I mean, every single map has been neck and neck, back and forth. Both of these teams are putting everything they have into this match, and it's been fantastic to watch. On the Yakuza side, we're really seeing strong pushes, good coordination, but ultimately falling apart in some attack rounds. Not really sure, they always know what to do. Sometimes the communication seems like it could break down a little bit, or their positioning can get a little out of place. Whereas on the Pogfish side, a lot of great individual performances, a lot of confidence and team play, but not always the best coordination and communication. We've seen a number of situations where they've made some questionable plays, or didn't communicate, key information to their team, which has cost them rounds. But overall, both teams playing extremely well, and Pogfish in particular. This is a fantastic showing from them. I mean, I don't think anybody expected, such an incredible performance on their part, and they've shown they're here to play. They've really performed incredibly well, and I think after this match, they're going to be given the respect they deserve, by casters like myself. But overall, I think they've been playing extremely well. It's been so much fun to watch both these teams go at it. And I really could not tell you who is going to end up taking this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a very close game.
It looks
But
like we're loading into the first map here, but just to talk a little bit about the performances so far from both these teams. On the Yakuza side, we've seen incredible performances from Ghetto and Taiga, the top of the leaderboard every single one of the matches, putting up huge numbers to make sure that their team gets this win. And on the Pogfish side, we've been seeing Fishy with some incredible games, backed up closely by Foom or Asbo. Both of them have been playing great games as well. Overall, it seems like we've kind of seen a little bit more of an even performance from the Pogfish side. All of their players relatively closer across the leaderboard, while on the Yakuza side, it often tends to be Flogel, Tommy, or Taiga and Ghetto at the top, and maybe a more lackluster performance from the rest of their players. So going into this series, we're really going to be looking to Ghetto, Fishy, Asbo, Tommy, and Foom to put up big performances for their team respectively, and try and cinch this win. We're going to Kill House now. It looks like a pause just came out. So while we're waiting for that, we can go ahead and take a look at this map here. A couple of different good options. You obviously have to hit the button in kitchen, and if that's what you're really looking for, then the straight push from club to kitchen isn't too bad. The upside of the club push as well is if you split through in missions, you can take a decent chunk of the map, right off the bat. On the other side, the lockers push is pretty good. Lockers otherwise would be a really, really strong hold for the defenders. Not only can you, fall back into kitchen, you can also fall back into hallway or strengthen the hold there. So overall, lockers is a pretty important room on this map, and if you want to spend the door charge on it, that's a pretty worthwhile move. So it really depends on how you want to play it. If you want to take a lot of the map control early, you want to go club, kind of bite off the left side of the map, or if you want to deny a key room to the defenders, lockers is a good position. But then obviously you either have to push through lockers into kitchen, which can get a little dicey, or you have to try and split through admissions, which has its own risks. So overall, this is a pretty good map. offers a lot of room for both the attackers and defenders to have some interesting plays here. I definitely wouldn't say that this map is particularly biased one way or another to a team. And the times I've played it, it really could go either way, and it really depends on how the attackers, make use of the time that they have, and how the defenders, try and deny early map control, and then hunker down on either button or vault, depending on which side of the map they really want to make sure they secure. So overall, there's a bunch of different ways to play it, but both of these teams really eager to make a strong first impression here. They really, really want to get this initial push started. Whoever can sort of take off with momentum at the very beginning, is at a bit of an advantage. There are not as many rounds in overtime. They only need to win 4. So it's less time for one team to get comfortable or find their footing. So if one of them could get that early start, they could leverage that into, a win, before the other team's really able to adjust. So looking on the setup here, it looks like Yaokuza are planning on spending a lot of barbed wire. Right? We're seeing 5 markings right now. Who knows if they use them all? But they also have the molly prepped, ready for the club hold. It seems like Pogfish are going to try and pinch club, take all of that map control. In which case, Yakuza are really going to want to hunker down in lockers, hunker down in kitchen, try and block hallway. Really just force them onto the side of the map they got for free, and then give very little after that. So there are definitely a bunch of options here, but I really think kitchen might be a bit of a challenge for the defenders. We're seeing 3 flashbangs coming down. It looks like Pogfish are switching their strategy now. They're actually taking a look at lockers. They're going to throw a nade on the barbed wire in kitchen, and just go straight in, which is just as viable of a strategy. It definitely will give them quick access to the button, and then they might be able to split club and hallway, or try and take that some other way. A little bit of an interesting play from Flogel, too. It looks like he might be in admissions, trying to go for a bit more of a rat play, and then play off of Ghetto from club. We have 2 in kitchen and 1 in hallway. So it's really going to fall down to Lobster to get the early damage in lockers here. And then we have 2 people who are going to try and counter a push from lockers into kitchen. They have 1 Molotov. It looks like they're waiting to put down the barbed wire until they hear the door charge and confirm what side of the map they need to set up for. Yeah, and it looks like they're already rotating, already trying to get over there and secure map presence. And here comes the push into lockers.
Yeah, we see the door charge go out. A lovely, an alright smoke from the Pogfish side. Throwing it over onto courtyard. A bit of damage onto the Pogfish side. But Merchant is able to take out Flogel, and Lobster is very low on HP and gets taken out by Merchant as well. It is a 3v5 now. Merchant, it doesn't see Photon, but does see Ghetto, isn't able to take him out. Biggie Cheese able to take out Dylan as well in kitchen, but Foom trades. Asbo dying to Biggie Cheese is a 2v2. Foom not able to do anything, it's Fishy last alive. Fishy left Foom just there. Didn't really seem like the best play. But we have got a molly coming out from the defenders to slow down Fishy. It is a 1v2, 57 seconds left. He's just slowly pushing in. He wide swings and gets taken out by Biggie Cheese, who gets a 3k for this round, meaning it is 1-0 to Yaokuza in overtime.
Yeah, some questionable plays coming in there from the Pogfish side. I mean, Merchant comes through admissions by himself, gets a 2K, so a huge impact on the round. Not at all what Pogfish were planning on doing, right? They were really looking for that 4 push through lockers, but Merchant just, chads his way through admission, gets a bunch of kills, puts his team in a great position. They're in, a 4v2 in kitchen, get the first kill. And then don't push all the way through kitchen. Don't clear their corners. End up losing 1 person in kitchen side. And then Fishy just kind of runs away. And, Fishy's maybe thinking, oh, I could go flank admissions, do some damage there. But Foom doesn't get the memo or doesn't listen and just decides to take a 1v1, loses it, and then the round's pretty much over. So a little unfortunate. The Pogfish really had a great advantage at the beginning of that round. It really seemed like if they just played smart, played slow, played together, they would have gotten that win. But Yaokuza kind of just clawed the round back, winning a couple of really important kills. One player in the back of kitchen there ended up having a really high impact. Moving into the C store, things are looking a little bit easier for Pogfish. This is another pretty attacker-sided C store. As you can see, this map is tiny, which means 2 flashbangs and you already have full map control. So it's going to be pretty hard for Yakuza to find a lot of ground here. You're probably going to want to have a good teller presence, a good fridges presence, a good arcade presence. And freezer, can be a little bit of a dice roll. Like, maybe you get those early kills. Maybe they just, peek you and are ready for it, and it ends up not working your way. It's tough. Playing on maps like these are really hard because if you let the attackers get too much space, they could just roll you with flashbangs, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. And on some of the better maps, there are multiple rooms so that the attackers can fall back and have more to work. Or sorry, the defenders can fall back and have a little bit more to work with. But on this map, there's nothing, right? The attackers blow storefront and they get the bomb. So it's tough, and it seems like Yakuza have some barbed wire set up here. Those both look pretty good to try and slow down that push. And it really depends. Are they going to be able to get those early picks? Are they going to be able to turn this into an advantageous situation for them? They have to. They need to get that early damage down, or things will only get worse for them as attackers take map control.
Well, we see Merchant baiting out that office drop. They've got the door charge. I mean, the war charge, sorry. Set. The war charge goes out. And a great molly slows down that attack. We see, a couple of pistol shots going out. They do know the location of one of the Yakuza members, and a great corner smoke goes out, blocking off Biggie Cheese's sight. Photon, though, inside Tellers is just giving out callouts until Asbo needs to push that. Ghetto has pushed into storefront. He is able to take out Dylan. And is able to take out Photon, Asbo as well. Photon is able to take out both Merchant and Foom, and it's all down to Fishy once again. This seems like it's going to be 2-0 from the HP pool of Fishy, and Ghetto kicks the red and takes out Fishy. Wonderful play. 2-0 to Yakuza.
Yeah, fantastic hold by Yakuza there. Just let them into storefront just a little bit. Didn't overpeak. Had 2 really good barbed wires put down. And that honestly was a huge performance by Ghetto. He comes in, he gets a fantastic molly down that completely stops the attacker push. Pogfish aren't really sure what to do. When that happens, the smoke fades. And because Pogfish had hesitated, they didn't have a lot of map control. They were out of position. They get swung from arcade. They're not ready for it. Then, it kind of seems like things break down for them. One of their players decides to just push straight up next to Teller. That's obviously an easy kill for the guy in Tellers, and the round just falls apart. So really, Ghetto coming in there with the molly, holding them off at that critical juncture of the map was extremely key, and ended up cinching the win for them. If we want to take a quick look at the stats here to see how they're doing, it seems like Yakuza have had a pretty strong performance so far, pretty convincingly holding this off. We see Ghetto again at the top of the leaderboard, followed closely by, I believe that's Tommy. Both of them really great performances so far, 400 damage each. Foom at the top of Pogfish with a merchant, and Fishy pretty close behind. So overall, it's been pretty convincing for Yakuza. A bunch of their players are just putting up really strong performances and then holding them off. But obviously, we will have to see how it goes for them on Factory. This is a really, really important round. If Pogfish lose this round, Yakuza have effectively secured either the win or the next overtime, which Pogfish obviously do not want to let them have. It looks like Pogfish is looking at a bit of a green push. They might be going. I think they lost their clacker in both clackers in their prior rounds, so they're forced green.
It seems like Yaokuza are pretty aware of this. And they're setting up, yeah, he's getting a flare out there too, setting up for a pretty aggressive hold on green door. They have a bunch of mollies. They have 3 mollies right now, all primed for green door as well. You know, this might get a little ugly.
Well, we see Pogfish pushing out here. They've already got to this office position, and they've got a flank coming out from the outboundish area. They've got a lot of setup on this server farm. They know that they don't have a clacker, and they know that they do have to push here. Merchant getting the kick down means that they don't get sprayed when they actually do move into the room. And, you know, the door kick really helps. Merchant pushing through the barb, though. Pushing through that smoke. Makes it round. He's able to take out Photon from behind the lines. And Merchant's deep. Merchant is deep into the enemy's defense. Flogel is able to take out 1. He isn't able to get a second, but Fishy is low. A flash goes out. Oh, and Flogel takes out Fishy. Ghetto takes out Merchant. It is a 2v4. It is a 1v4. This is for the confirmed tie. It is happening. If Pogfish win the next 3 rounds, then we go to round 2 of overtime, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, that was scary for a second. Merch got in, kind of just, it seemed like Yaokuza wanted to wait as long as they possibly could before they threw the mollies down. Maybe waited a little bit too long and allowed Merchant to get in when maybe a couple of people weren't quite ready for it. They ended up getting some pretty solid map control. Things were looking a little dicey. Ghetto was in sort of a 1v2 situation against 2 riflers, so you know, it could have gone badly there, but they ended up hitting their shots, playing their trades, and yeah, it was a pretty decisive win for Yaokuza. Now we have switched sides. Definitely something that Pogfish is happy about. They're a considerably better defender team than they are attacker team. And this map was really interesting when we saw it played. You know, we saw a surprising push through admissions by Merchant, followed up by a relatively lackluster push from lockers to kitchen by the rest of the team. So the question is Yaokuza going to do the same thing? Do they want to, you know, really commit to club and door charge through that as well as push green? Or are they going to try and take lockers too, which, you know, is a bit of a choke point into kitchen, but it's also a pretty crucial piece of the map, and denying it from the defenders could be relatively helpful as well. So a couple of different options here. It looks like we have some good barbs coming out from the Pogfish side too. They are particularly worried about lockers. I'll be interested to see how much they set up in club. From the way Yaokuza are drawing, it looks like we're probably going to see an admissions push along with the club red door. But, you know, obviously nothing is finalized yet. It looks like they, have some flashbangs down for kitchen, so maybe they go admissions to club, split from the red door, then push in kitchen altogether, which is, you know, it's a tough push. The kitchen's actually pretty well designed so that the defenders have some room to play in. You know, a flashbang is not going to clear out that entire room. So you really can either only flash the person far or the person close. And either way, it gives the defenders some space to work with. But it looks like a pretty solid setup for club. We have 2 people here. Dylan playing the close angle, Merchant playing the long angle with Foom, you know, ready to wall bang or swing as necessary. Not a lot of mollies either. Actually, I take that back. It looks like they have a couple. They're really worried about this club push.
But we see some shots going out, actually, from both sides. And we see some shots going through the red door, actually. Foom able to take out Flogel, though. Lovely kill there. And we've got Photon, who's kind of just chilling outside of the truck. They're all on this red door. Some lovely mollies going out, really slowing down that push. We see Merchant with the Igmar, Asbo with the KR82M, gonna be aggressively peeking here, and is able to deal a lot of damage to Biggie Cheese. Fishy able to take out Lobster. It is a 3v5 now. Merchant able to kill Biggie Cheese. Able to frag for Jack. And Photon is in a dance with Merchant here. And Asro is able to end the ballet of Merchant and Photon. And it's only down to Ghetto. Ghetto last alive. Merchant is aggressively peeking this. We saw this happen on one of the rounds last game, actually. As they really aggressively swinged and died because of it. Will Asbo be able to get the kill on Ghetto here? He will not, as Ghetto does not peek far enough. And that will be 3-1 to Pogfish.
Yeah, that was a great hold from Pogfish. They were just ready for it. You know, they were completely set up to try and counter admissions. They were ready for the push. It seems like Foom in particular, you know, getting a lot of early damage, then followed up by Fishy and Merchant and Asbo, who all just kind of swung in and collapsed on them. And yeah, it's tough. The admissions push is hard because if you miss those first few kills, it can get pretty dicey, and particularly with the knack playing so close, watching barbed wire, it's actually quite challenging to get through there. So overall, really well played by Pogfish.
Yeah, really good round from Pogfish there.
Yeah, you know, I think we're going to keep seeing this back and forth. It seems like both teams are doing a little bit better on the defender side. Pogfish, I think, look particularly strong on defense in contrast to their offense, but I think Yaokuza are similar, where both of these teams feel a little bit more comfortable defending. And it's showing. You know, we kind of have these streaky bouts where one team will win a couple, and then the next team will win a couple, and it'll keep going back and forth. So you really never know who's going to walk away with this until the end. But that said, Yaokuza, you know, are the team to win it right now. They just need a single round to walk away with this W. And I'm sure Pogfish are feeling that pressure, particularly on this map. This is not a map you want to be defending, you know, for match point. It's looking a little dicey for them. You know, as I said, I really feel like this is a pretty attacker-sided map. There's just not a lot of room to work with as a defender. So we see a really aggressive barb setup coming out from the defense. I think that makes sense. They need to win this round. There is no wiggle room here. So, you know, you really need to invest as much as possible. You need to counter that nade however you can. It looks like Yaokuza just want to go straight down the middle. And so it really depends. You know, are Pogfish going to, you know, push out Yaokuza a little bit? Are they going to get some early damage in? Because if Yaokuza get to bomb with all 5 of their players still in the server, you know, it's game over. So they need the early picks. They need the early damage. They need to slow Yaokuza down, and they don't have a lot of space to do it. So it's going to be tense.
Yeah, we see a lot of map drawings actually coming out from Yaokuza and Pogfish. But we'll see what Yaokuza can do with this, and whether or not the Pogfish are the better defenders out of the two teams. We see Flogel going on top of the roof. They might be going for this eco play to potentially save a door charge. Oh no, sorry, my bad. They have brought the wall charge. Flogel's just there for the bait. I believe Fishy hears the glass break, but he might know this is a bait. They did it themselves, and there's the wall charge. Fishy with a molly prepped. Gonna be getting that re-molly. And we see the Pogfish players just sort of sitting at the side of the map, the corners of them. And Foom, I believe, heard Flogel drop in. So whether or not he's going to be able to get that kill. The corner smoke again, but Merchant's able to deal a bit of damage through it. And Foom's able to take down Flogel. Dylan is able to take out Ghetto. Oh, but it's a 2v3 now. This is it. This could be the game for Yaokuza. Foom is able to get one. Lobster and Tiga are the last 2 members alive.
Foom, what are you doing?
Foom dies to Tiga, and it is down to Dylan. the last person that can stop this attack. Is he able to do it? 60%, 70%. He's able to get one. Is he able to get the second? He isn't. And it is Yaokuza that take the game. Yaokuza are moving on to the next round, and they've confirmed the $100 from the prize pool.
Yeah, and you know, that's the second time that we've seen Foom take a solo peek while one of his teammates was doing a big flank. And you know, it's one of those things where it's like, why are you peeking? Like, there's no need to do that. They weren't defusing bomb. He had an angle onto bomb from storage. He wasn't getting pushed out. He wasn't flashed. His teammate wasn't there to support them. But he takes a fight that ends up being a 2v1 and loses and leaves his teammate in a really bad spot. And Dylan actually ended up getting 1 kill. So if Foom had waited, if Dylan got into tellers there, that round could have gone differently. And obviously, you know, pointing out an individual mistake and an overall loss, you know, is not productive. You know, Foom overall has had a fantastic performance, but that is somewhat indicative of Pogfish's problems. It seems like they struggle with coordination, they struggle with communication, and that is ultimately why they lost today. From a pure gunfight perspective, they played extremely well, better than Yaokuza even, winning a lot of 1v1s, a lot of 1v2s, 2v1s, low body situations where the kills really mattered. Pogfish showed up and they turned a lot of rounds in their favor that, you know, might have gone another way. But ultimately, Yaokuza was the more disciplined team, the more coordinated team. They pushed together, they played smart, and they didn't really take a lot of dumb gunfights. And ultimately, that's what led to their win. If we want to take a quick look at the stats for this overtime match, you know, we can see. Yeah, so Foom, really great performance, 610 damage, 195 ADR on defense, 80% KAST, 1-for-1 opening duels. Really, really strong showing out of him throughout the entire series. Then right after him, we have Dylan and Merchant, 2 quieter players throughout this series. So really great to see them show up right at the very end. You know, show their best performance. Merchant in particular won 2 out of 2 opening duels. That's extremely important. And interestingly enough, Fishy, you know, really, really, really great performance throughout this whole series. Like, absolutely fantastic player. Really, you know, pulling a lot of weight for his team, but ultimately did not show up in this overtime match, and that's unfortunate. But overall, I thought Pogfish played fantastic. Moving on to Yaokuza. Ghetto was the top performer for their team the entire way through this series, always at the top of the leaderboard, always having a high impact. 150 damage or ADR on attacker side, 200 ADR on defender side, going 8-1 in overtime with 100% KAST. He is undoubtedly the MVP of this series, and it's not even close. Right behind him, we have Flogel. You know, a little quiet in the very beginning of the series, but by the end was a massive contributor to their win. 80% KAST, 820 damage dealt. And, you know, on top of that, I want to say Tommy, too, you know, had a fantastic performance throughout the entire series. A lot of really smart plays and was really right behind Ghetto the entire time in terms of damage. You know, overall, this was really close. And overtime definitely demonstrated that Yaokuza was the better team. But it was neck and neck the whole way through. They both played quite well. And Pogfish in particular, I think, surprised a lot of people with their performance today. I'm sure they're a little disappointed about not getting the win and moving further, but they should be really proud of themselves and the game they played and the run they've had in this tournament. They're a really new team. If you look at the two teams kind of in terms of game played, Yaokuza has, you know, 3 times the games played of every single player on the Pogfish roster. So in terms of experience, Yaokuza, you know, was supposed to be the better team here, and Pogfish took the fight to them. It was extremely close. They played really well. They played with so much confidence, and, you know, a lot of like team play and natural chemistry that allowed them to make this match so close. So overall, I don't think they should consider this, you know, a bad performance by any means.
Yeah, really great game. But I believe the next game will be Nemesis Yaokuza. So we will see you all then for Nemesis Yaokuza. We'll be back very shortly for the next game. And so goodbye.
Bye, everyone.